Jim, it looks like we're just about ready for the kickoff, so let's find out the answer to those questions.
John, the Lions have won the toss. They have elected to receive. They will be running left to right, defending the goal to our left. The Redskins will be kicking off. Mark Mosley will be doing the booting. He has been having some problems lately with his foot. And let's see how his kickoff will go and give you an idea just what kind of shape he is in as far as those very important field goals are concerned. Robbie Martin, 83, Alvin Hall, 35 back. And this football game is underway. It's a short kickoff fielded by Alvin Hall in the vicinity of the 20-yard line. Loose football, and the Redskins appear to have fallen on it. They've got it. 1st and 10, Washington at the 22 of Detroit. A costly turnover early in the football game. John, the Lions, in losing 5 consecutive games on the road, have been making these kinds of mistakes late in the football game. Here they do it on the opening kickoff.
And to do it here in RFK Stadium where the Redskins crowd means so much is a horrible thing for the Lions at the beginning of the game. Of course, the Redskins last week got on top early versus St. Louis. They were ahead 28-0 in the 3rd quarter. Let's see if they do the same thing right here.
Jarvis White, the man that pounced on the football for the Redskins. Theismann, 1st and 10. Wide receivers left and right. Tight end in motion to the near side. Theismann, screen pass over on the right side. Sets it up. Running room set up there inside the 15 down to the 12-yard line. Virgil C., the first-year man from Troy State. The Redskins open up with that wide-open attack. And this is what Joe Gibbs told us yesterday at practice. The Redskins will use lots of motion early, trying to confuse that Detroit defense, make the defense react to their offense in motion. There you take a look. Theismann at quarterback. Joe Washington starts. We'll see John Riggins a little bit later on short yardage situations. Art Monk in his 2nd year, the big play man for the Redskins, the wide receiver. Virgil Say, who just caught the ball. There's the offensive line for the Washington Redskins. 1st down, 10 yards to go. See out wide to the left side. Monk in motion to the near side. Theismann gives the ball out to Washington. Down to the 7-yard line before he is wrestled out of bounds. Wayne Smith, the 2nd-year man from Purdue, the man that chased him out of bounds. The Redskins open up with that wide-open offense, Johnny.
Exactly, Jim. Last week, and they've been winning 3 of their 4 games. As you look at Joe Theismann, they have a balanced attack. In the beginning of the season, they were throwing the ball an awful lot. They didn't have a running game. They found it with Washington and Riggins, and that's exactly what Theismann is showing you right now. Some run, some pass. Art Monk is the man down here, though. He's a touchdown pass threat.
2nd down and 6. You see they flood the right side. Now Monk comes in motion back to the near side of your screen. 2nd and 6, Washington. A little delay. Joe Washington inside the 5, close to the goal line. Touchdown. The Skins are on the board. Three plays, and the Redskins have 6.
So reminiscent of last week when the Skins got on top in about 3 or 4 plays. Watch Washington. Nice call here. He threw the ball. He ran the ball. Gets some good blocking up front. Washington makes a nice cut. That's number 68, the rookie Russ Grimm out of Pitt, making a good block leading the way. Touchdown, Redskins on top early.
Out of the Theismann hold, Mark Mosley will try to add to the Washington advantage this very early in the football game. Snap, spot, kick, perfect. Redskins lead it 7-0. Let's take another look at ground level now. Watch the big block by Russ Grimm. Jeff Bostic, the center, 53, the 2nd-year man from Clemson. And scooting through the line goes Joe Washington. The Redskins go 22 yards in 3 plays. They break out on top 7-0 over the Detroit Lions. You look at Mark Mosley teeing it up at the 35-yard line. His last kickoff was very short, fielded by Alvin Hall at about the 15. But he was stripped of the ball, fumbled at the 22, and 3 plays later the Redskins took it in. Joe Washington on a delay, and Washington has a 7-0 advantage. You see Mosley just takes 1 step, approaches the ball. It's Alvin Hall, 1 yard deep. Starts out on the right side, looks for the wedge, comes back to the 17, and nothing doing. Chopped down by Dallas Hickman, number 78, and the Detroit offense will get the football for the first time in the football game. You take a look. Eric Hipple, of course, the 2nd-year quarterback. What a story that is. Billy Sims back close to 100%. He really wasn't last week against the Los Angeles Rams. Dexter Bussey, the other running back. Leonard Thompson, 1 wide receiver, and Freddie Scott, of course, the former San Francisco 49er. There's the Detroit Lions offensive line. Amos Fowler brings them out at center. 1st and 10, Detroit. They're on the short end, 7-0. They operate from their own 17. Wide receivers left and right. Thompson to the left side. The up back. Billy Sims on the carry. Bus on through. Look out. 1st down, Detroit. Detroit at the 32. Joe Lavender made a touchdown-saving tackle.
Billy Sims, I doubt if you'll see Detroit depart from their game plan, which basically is to give it to this man, their spark plug. Billy Sims makes a nice cut, gets a block from his wide receiver, cuts upfield. Joe Lavender makes an important tackle. Sims would have had more.
Take a look at the Washington Redskin defense right now. Dave Butts, of course, big, mean line. Okay, the linebacking core, Coleman, Okowitz, Kaufman. Mel Kaufman, 2 interceptions last week against the Cardinals and the secondary. 1st and 10, Detroit. Billy Sims again. Same play. Pickup of about 4 yards. 2nd down and 6. Dave Butts, the veteran from Purdue, in there on the tackle.
So goes Billy Sims, so go the Detroit Lions. We talked to him a little bit yesterday. Asked him about that turf toe that's been bothering him. Last week he was maybe 80%. He said today he expected to be close to 100%, so we might see some vintage Billy Sims.
You take a look at the standings in the NFC Central, a very important game. Tampa Bay playing in Minnesota. Those two teams deadlocked 5-4. You see the Lions are at 4-5. So you can see just how crucial a contest this is for Monty Clark and his Detroit Lions right there.
The Lions win today, Jim. They'll be tied for 2nd place in the Central with a good shot because they'll have some home games against contenders later on in the year.
From their own 35, 2nd down and 6. Wide receiver to the left side. Up back. This is Dexter Bussey bucking his way across the line, and he is cut down. Just barely got back to the line of scrimmage. Neil Okowitz, Dave Butts in there to clog it up.
Take a look at the defense. Washington Redskins defense, a decent offensive line. Butts is playing good ball, gets a hand on the man to slow him down. Perry Brooks finishes him off on Dexter Bussey. An average defensive line, a young set of linebackers on Washington, a veteran secondary with 2 fine cornerbacks in Lamar Parrish and Joe Lavender.
3rd and 6 for the Lions from their 36. Okowitz is out at the middle linebacker. The Skins go to the nickel. Jarris White, the man who pounced on the fumble, is in there. Wide receivers left and right for the Detroit Lions. Backs are split. We look to Eric Kipple now to see his first pass in the football game. Looks to the right side, tosses it up, and it is incomplete at the 47-yard line of the Washington Redskins. Lamar Parrish back there on the coverage. The man that was intended for, number 86, streaking down the right side for the Detroit Lions. Incomplete, Mark Nichols.
And when you have cornerbacks like Parrish and Lavender who can cover one-on-one, you can blitz, as the Redskins just then did. They want to put some pressure on the young second-year quarterback out of Utah, Eric Kipple, and they did that time.
You look at Tom Skladany from Ohio State, a 44.8 average. Mike Nelms deep for the Washington Redskins. So the Redskin defense is held on the Lions' first possession, and Detroit apparently will punt it away. Nelms, of course, the #1 kick returner in the NFC. Skladany, the top punter. Big rush. High spiraling kick. Nelms tries to field it. Flag on the play. It's picked up by the Redskins. Otherwise a costly turnover, and it'll be 1st and 10 Washington at the 20. Let's check the flag. Looks like they didn't give him the proper yardage to field the punt, John.
They definitely did. It looked like Leonard Thompson was down there very early, didn't give Nelms enough time, and Washington Redskin wisely picks it up. Now, after Nelms, watch him come in here, right here. That's too soon. Definitely a penalty. Washington Redskins pick it up here with no liability for a fumble, because if they do fumble, they'll get it back. So wise play by Washington.
You wonder why the up-back, though, the man that is supposed to help Nelms on that kind of a call, doesn't signal Nelms that the defense is coming down so that he can make the fair catch.
Nelms doesn't believe in fair catch. I don't think he's heard that it's part of the game yet.
Referee for today's game, Bob Frederick.
Interference for the opportunity to catch the kick. Number 39 on the defense. 1st down.
Leonard Thompson coming right down here, the wide receiver from Detroit. It definitely interferes with Mike Nelms, and Washington leads 7-0. We'll be back at RFK Stadium in just a moment.
1st and 10 Washington at the Redskin 32-yard line. They operate a flood formation to the left side. Monk out wide, C in the middle, in motion now. That's number 88, Rich Walker, one of the tight ends. Theismann on the delay, gives it off to Joe Washington, who stutters forward for a pickup of about 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 7 for the Redskins. Doug English, number 78, the 6-year man from Texas, in there on the tackle for the Detroit Lions.
Joe Washington. Green Bay beating the Giants. Scott Bruner, of course, starting for Phil Simms for the Giants. Apparently threw an interception. Green Bay returned it. They now lead 7-0. New England beating Miami. That's a surprise, 7-zip. That also in the 1st quarter.
2nd down and 7. they flood the right side. Theismann to put it up, avoids the pass rush, fires down deep, man is open, complete. Over on the left side, Virgil C., the Troy State first-year man, comes up, and it's another Washington Redskin first down. Take another look.
Virgil C. does something you have to do as a wide receiver against the defensive back. He drives downfield. Theismann rolls out to get away from the rush. He throws a bullet right to him. Wayne Smith doesn't have time to recover. Finally comes up. Take another look at it. Here it is. Here's that confrontation. You see C driving off. Wayne Smith turns him to the outside, then comes back to the inside. Theismann delivers the ball on time. Completion, first down.
Smart play by the first-year man from Troy State, and a key first down for the Redskins. 1st and 10, Washington. Monk in motion to the near side. Little delay. Joe Washington, lots of running room. He gets on the outside. Look out for the 40, inside down to the 39 before Wayne Smith throws him out of bounds.
Jim, I have to ask you this question. Do you think Joe Washington might be putting a little bit extra into the game, realizing that his buddy from Oklahoma, Billy Sims, is across the way and has gotten all that publicity?
Two former Sooners going at each other. And the right side of that Washington offensive line doing a job on the pass blocking, but more importantly on the run. Big block there by number 88, Rick Walker.
Finally, it's Wayne Smith taking him out of bounds.
2nd down and 7. C to the left side. Monk to the right side. Joe Washington, 4 carries, 21 yards. From the 40-yard line of the Redskins, or of the Lions. Monk in motion to the far side now. Joe Washington gets the call. Bucks on through for 2, close to first down yardage. 3rd and 1. Al Baker, Big Bubba Baker from Colorado State. Take a look as he makes the tackle.
Watch Bubba Baker here. Comes off the line. He's noted for his pass rushing ability, but not bad against the run. Here he recovers off the block and brings Washington down from the inside.
Take a look at that Detroit Lion defensive line. And, of course, 2 of the big ones there, Baker and English. There are the linebackers. They're good ones. Stan White, former Baltimore Colt. And the secondary, somewhat suspect with the exception of Jimmy Allen. Warren and Walker, 2 tight end alignment now on 3rd and less than a yard for the Redskins. Joe Washington. Intended for Walker, incomplete. How about that on 3rd and 1?
I'll tell you what, they're pulling him all out of their closet. You knew Washington wasn't on a serious end run that time because of the angle he took, and he was obviously not at full speed either. So something was coming. It's a little while as you look at Philadelphia, Jim, leading St. Louis 7-zip, trying to come back after last week's defeat versus Dallas.
Both those teams coming off defeats. The Cardinals were romped here in Washington, and the Eagles were upset at home by the Dallas Cowboys. Robbie Martin, number 83, back deep as you look there for the Detroit Lions. Mike Connell will apparently punt it away. He's standing at his own 48. The crowd still murmuring a little bit at the surprise call on 3rd and less than a yard. He'll go for the right corner. He got all of it. It is a high hanging kick that will hit right at the 6-yard line, right in the grasp of Dexter Manley.
I'm really surprised, Robbie Martin, that what you're told as a punt return man is to never field the ball inside the 10-yard line. Robbie Martin did it. Washington leads Detroit 7-0. We'll be right back.
You look at Lions head coach Monty Clark there and his career record. Of course, the Lions, as far as the series is concerned, have won 3 of 17 contests. Now, you take a look. Eric Hipple is the 5th Detroit Lion quarterback to start the last 5 games against the Washington Redskins. Munson back in 73, Landry in 76, and so on. The Lions lost each one of those football games. 1st and 10 from their own 7-yard line. Wide receivers left and right. They go from the I-Pro set. The pitch back to Billy Sims to the 5. Close to the 10-yard line. A pickup of about 3. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7. In there on the tackle for the Washington Redskins, Dexter Manley, Mel Kaufman helping out, 55, the rookie from California Poly. You see where Billy Sims is as far as NFL rushing leaders for this year. Dorsett of the Dallas Cowboys.
That's even more amazing, Jim, when you think that he's missed a couple of games. He still has 728 yards in about 7 games of play.
Freddie Scott out wide to the left side. Keep your eye on number 81, the tight end, Dave Hill. The favorite receiver, Eric Hipple. Quick hitter over the middle. Not much doing. Pickup of about 2. Dave Butts clogged it up there, the veteran from Purdue. Take a look at the blocking on Okowitz, the middle linebacker here.
Of course, Okowitz is a small middle linebacker. He's only about 6 feet, about 220 pounds. Comes up and meets. Look at him meet the offensive lineman, do a pretty good job and stuff up the hole.
This is a tough call now for Hipple and Monty Clark. It's 3rd down and 4. You don't want to make a mistake. You're down deep. You're already behind 7-0. The line of scrimmage is the 13-yard line of the Lions. Freddie Scott wide to the left side. Leonard Thompson split out wide to the right side. Again, the I-Pro set. Keep your eye on number 20, Billy Sims. Loose football. Redskins say they've got it. They do. Well, John, this is something that Monty Clark was so concerned about as we talked to him at practice yesterday, making mistakes here on the road. They have never, ever won at RFK Stadium. They are winless on the road this year, and it's mistakes that have hurt them in all 5 of their road losses so far.
And this looks like a decent pitch to Billy Sims. He just doesn't handle the ball. Might have been a little behind. There's a big scramble afterwards. It looked like Hipple might get it, but no. Number 76, Matt Mendenhall, the first-year player from Brigham Young, comes up with it. Redskins in great position at the 10-yard line.
They scored from the 22 3 plays after the first fumble. Let's see what they do now. Monk in motion back to the near side. Theismann at the controls. Joe Washington, the running back. He gets the call. Did it almost on his own. That right side was caught. Instead of taking the play outside, it looked like that was where the play was designed, John. Instead, he cut it back in. As you look, the Cardinals now have tied it up against the Eagles.
It's just 2 turnovers early in the game on the road. A tough situation, and Detroit had a closed-door meeting last Monday to try to get themselves back together. They kept the coaches out, and basically what they said was, let's go, guys. We've lost a lot of close games. It's time to dig in for the stretch run. Apparently it didn't have much good because they're in trouble right now.
Ricky Thompson out wide to the right side. Monk in motion to the near side from the 6 of the Detroit Lions. Theismann gives it to Joe Washington again, who falls down at about the line of scrimmage. He had a hole to run through. He just couldn't get there. As he tried to cut, his footing went out from under him again.
Slipped on the natural turf here. Turf is perfect. It's a good field. Joe Washington tries to make one of those patented cuts. Look how he's carrying the ball in the wrong hand. You'd want to have it in the other hand when you cut back, but obviously in that situation you didn't have time to switch the ball and just slipped. Time for the Detroit defense to pick up their team right now and hold Washington to a field goal. Minnesota leading Tampa Bay 3-0 in the first quarter.
And of course, those 2 teams are tied with records of 5 and 4 in the NFC Central. Theismann on 3rd and 4. Looks for Ricky Thompson. Incomplete. He overthrew him, but good coverage back there for the Detroit Lions. Hector Gray, the rookie out of Florida State, was right with him, and Theismann threw it away. So Mark Mosley will come in and try a chip shot field goal. But for Mark Mosley, as he was telling you yesterday at practice, John, nothing's been a chip shot of late.
He wants a new body. He has all kinds of problems with his legs, a pulled groin muscle, pulled thigh muscle, just having a lot of trouble. But this is a chip shot. Shouldn't be much of a problem for Mosley. And as soon as I say that, watch what happens.
Theismann will spot it at the 21. Mosley 3 for 3 from the 20 to the 29. Snap, spot, kick, he nailed it. And the Redskins jump out on top after 2 costly Lion turnovers by a score of 10-0, and we are just midway through quarter number 1. 2 fumbles by the Detroit Lions have led to a touchdown and a field goal. Washington 10, Detroit nothing. The preceding message furnished by the National Football League. You take a look at the turnovers, the Washington Redskins, what they did in their first 5 games where they were winless, and what they've done by contrast in their last 4, 3 of which they have won. Terry Metcalf wide to the left side. Monk in motion to the top of your screen. Theismann on 1st and 10 will put it up. Incomplete on a fine defensive play. Rick Walker, the man for whom the pass was intended, batted away by Ray Oldham.
And we just saw that excellent graphic which really summed up the Redskins this season. They're 0-5 beginning. They're winning 3 of the 4. A lot of turnovers. Now they're getting the turnovers, and Theismann hasn't thrown an interception in a couple of games. That's really an important stat. Watch the pass rush here. This is what the Lions are going to have if they're going to win. Baker makes the outside fake, cuts back inside, gets some pressure on Theismann, causes him to throw the ball a little before he wanted to do it. 2nd
down and 10. Monk in motion to the top of your screen. Theismann will air it out again. This time the line holds, but it's batted down. Baker got an arm up there. Joe Washington, the man that was crossing underneath over the middle, was open, but Bubba Baker got those big hands up and just batted it away.
And not only that, had Bubba not batted that ball away, number 52, Stan White, was cutting in front of the receiver, might have had an interception, but Baker is the man. Watch Baker again. He's up against the rookie from Louisville, number 66, Joe Jacoby, replacing Mark May. Baker's big and strong. Looks like a game with English. Gets his hand up and gets it on the ball.
How about the man that Jacoby's replaced, Mark May, out of Pittsburgh? Pretty good rookie, winner of the Outland Trophy. Monk in motion to the near side. Theismann will have to put it up on 3rd and 10. Got room to run instead. Wide open down the middle, out of the backfield. Terry Metcalf, 1st down and more. It's a foot race, and out of bounds at the 36-yard line of the Detroit Lions Goes Terry Metcalf, former St. Louis Cardinal, went to the Canadian Football League for a while, came back. Joe Gibbs inserting him into the offense. He's always been a spark plug. Take another look.
Theismann gets a little bit of time here and does what you have to do as a quarterback. They give him the pocket. He steps up into the pocket. Detroit's in his zone. Metcalf is wide open over the middle. The man is back from Canada and showing his stuff.
35 yards on that pass completion. Theismann has been on fire here in the first quarter. From the 33, Theismann gives the ball to John Riggins. And he is stacked up. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. You look what Green Bay is doing to the New York Giants. Green Bay, that game is in Milwaukee, by the way. The Packers 3-6 going in. And the New York Giants are 5-4. Riggins stopped for no gain. You played with Johnny Riggins for quite a while. You surprised to see him back here in a Redskin uniform?
When he was a rookie, John Riggins looked like a butterball. I mean, we were all snickering and wondering at John Riggins when he came from Kansas after breaking Gale Sayers' record, #1 draft choice for the Jets. He just didn't look like a running back. Of course, he's proved us all wrong. The man is terrific, going for 8th place in the all-time rushing in the NFL. Needs just 34 yards, Jim.
Walker in motion to the near side. Riggins open in the flat, but Theismann is down in the grasp of a huge Detroit Lion rush. Sacked back at the 43-yard line. Doug English pushing his way through. I mentioned John Riggins was open. You see how open he is as the safety valve man, but Theismann didn't have a chance.
Didn't have time because the blitz was on. That's number 53, Gary Cobb, in on him before he had time to even find Riggins.
So it'll bring up 3rd down and 19 yards. Metcalf comes back in. Joe Washington checks in. And John Riggins will lead. Redskins try to deploy 4 wide receivers as quickly as possible in a situation like this. Theismann will toss it up. Sprints out of the pocket. Tries to direct traffic. Comes back. Incomplete. Intended for Art Monk, the second-year man from Syracuse. Certainly a catchable pass.
Certainly something you don't see Art Monk do very often. He has excellent hands, but Theismann using an interesting technique of rolling away from that rush, the fine silver rush of Detroit, and gets a little bit extra time. Hit Art Monk, he just couldn't hold on to him.
Robbie Martin, 83, drops back deep as you look at Mike Connell. There is Robbie Martin. And the Lions escape after that interception. No further damage. They've fallen behind 10-0. 3:56 left to go in the first quarter. Connell will kick it away from about his own 47. Martin standing back deep at his own 8-yard line. Connell goes for the right sideline. Hangs a perfect spiral. Fair catch at the 5. Dexter Manley down there on the specialty teams for the Redskins again. That's the second time he's clogged up the punt return team of the Detroit Lions. And Detroit will operate 1st and 10 from their own 5, down 10-zip. Next week, CBS Sports Saturday brings you great championship boxing again. Knockout artist Aaron Pryor defending his WBA junior welterweight title against a determined Duan Johnson. Be ringside for all the action right here next week, 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central and Pacific on CBS Sports Saturday.
Jim, I'll tell you what, Tracy Porter caught that ball on his 4 or 5-yard line, fair catch. Robbie Martin did the same thing before. 2 mental errors by Detroit return men.
Leonard Thompson wide left, Scott wide right. The call goes to Billy Sims, and look out, 1st down and more all the way up to the 17-yard line. Joe Lavender made, I think, John, his 2nd touchdown-saving tackle. Otherwise, Sims is gone if he turned it up.
One-on-one. Imagine the feeling Joe Lavender with a runner like Billy Sims, dynamite in the open field. Billy Sims tried to square him up here and fake him, but Lavender, great concentration, makes a touchdown-saving tackle.
Hey, how about the way Billy Sims is carrying that football like a loaf of bread after already fumbling the ball once on a lateral from Eric Hipple. 5 carries, 30 yards for Billy Sims. No points, however, for the Detroit Lions. 3:15 in counting, quarter number 1. The Lions 1st and 10 from the Detroit 18. Backs are split. Thompson to the left side, Scott to the right side. Inside handoff. There goes Billy Sims again up to the 21-yard line. Neil Okowitz, the middle linebacker, in his 3rd year from Maryland, in there on the tackle.
Billy Sims has a good offensive line in front of him. You don't hear much about Dorney, Bollinger, Fowler, Elias, and Baldisweiler, but they're a group that's maturing and growing, and they have all-pro potential in Keith Dorney and Elias at the guard, and they lead the way for Billy Sims. It's not just all Billy Sims.
Tough call coming up for the Lions now on 2nd down and 7. Scott comes wide to the left side. Thompson wide to the top of your screen. Keep your eye on Dave Hill, the tight end, number 81, a key receiver for Eric Hipple. He audibilizes. Quick square out. Scott turns it up. 1st down, Detroit. And down he goes at the 33-yard line of the Lions. Good move to pick up first down yardage, Johnny.
Against a veteran cornerback, Lamar Parrish. I'm a little surprised to see the 12-year pro miss this tackle, but Freddie Scott makes a good move here. Lamar was trying to come up to prevent the first down, over-committed himself. Scott makes a good spin outside for the first down.
Take a look from ground level now. As if you're the Washington defender, not much you can do on this, and you'll see closely the good move that Scott puts right there to pick up first down yardage. Scott now 2 catches, a total of 30 yards, and a big Detroit first down at their own 33. They go to a slot wide to the right side. Back to the split. Redskins show 8 men on the line of scrimmage. Hipple to put it up on first down. Billy Sims, check it. Dexter Bussey out of the backfield. And Hipple just got that ball away, but a flag is down. Flag thrown down at the 35-yard line of the Lions. That generally would indicate holding, John. But in this case, illegal man downfield.
Took a long time to develop, and Washington's getting a good rush on the quarterback. Of course, that's what the offensive line is allowing them to do at this point. They're letting them in. It just developed a little bit slowly. Obviously, someone got downfield too much. Look at that hit Hipple takes.
Hipple never saw Dexter Bussey on the pass completion.
Ineligible member of the passing team downfield, number 73. First down.
The Lions have been penalized twice for a total of 25 yards. You look at Detroit, what they've done at the Silverdome, and what they've done in the other guys' buildings. Freddie Scott wide to the left side, Thompson to the near side. They go from the I formation, 1st and 20 now from the Lions 23. Hipple changes the play with an audible. Open man, David Hill. Close to first down yardage. I think he fought his way across the 44. Nope, they back it up.
And this is a different David Hill. He's working hard now. We talked with Monty Clark yesterday, and he's running his patterns well. This ball is thrown behind him. Makes a good catch spinning around. Look at those hands. He can be, once again, one of the premier tight ends in the league. He hasn't been lately. Here, watch the pass blocking. Hipple gets a little bit of time to throw. He's looking away. It's good protection from his offensive line. That's number 76, Carl Boldingweiler, doing a good job on Mendenhall on the outside.
That, by the way, is Matt Mendenhall, not John Mendenhall, former New York Giant. Bob Frederick, the referee, signals first down after they bring the chains in all the way across. So David Hill indeed picked up first down yardage. Green Bay has just gone out in front of the Giants by a bigger margin. A 32-yard field goal by Jan Stenerud. And the Packers are out in front. Tampa Bay still trailing the Vikings. And that's the big battle for the lead in the NFC Central. Of course, that's why this game is so important for the Detroit Lions. They can't afford to fall any further behind. Freddie Scott wide to the left side. Mark Nichols now out wide to the right side. Lions go to the double tight end alignment, but they use one as a wide receiver. Billy Sims, slant left, down to the 46-yard line. Perry Brooks, the man who made the stop. Pickup of about 2. It'll bring up second down and 8 for the Detroit Lions.
And a good play by Watch King on a lead block here, but we'll also watch number 23, Tony Peters, come in right here and stuff the blocker and make the tackle on Billy Sims. That's a strong safety, Tony Peters. And remember, Tony Peters is only 177 pounds. He's coming up to meet Billy Sims, who's slightly heavier and offensive lineman. Good, strong safety.
Scott wide left, Thompson wide right. Lions look at second down and 7. Hipple has his back split. We'll throw it up. Open man, complete first down and more for the Lions. Leonard Thompson streaking down the right side, turned it in on the post pattern. And the man he turned it in on, number 24 for the Washington Redskins, Lamar Parrish, who has 1 interception so far this afternoon. Monty Coleman also in pursuit.
Hipple has time, delivers the ball with his live arm. Leonard Thompson has blazing speed, pulls up in front of Parrish, makes the reception for the first down.
Thompson came in with 19 catches, 310 yards, averaging about 16 yards every time he's caught the football, 3 touchdowns.
And last year, he led the NFL with almost a 27-yard per catch average. He's a deep threat on the Detroit Lions.
Slot to the left side. Backs are split. 1st and 10 from the 36. Lions needing to put some points on the board. Hipple goes deep. Got a man out there. Touchdown, Detroit. Freddie Scott. '36 yards. And and the Lions are right back in this football game.
I had a chat with Freddie Scott the other day when I was in Detroit in their locker room, and he thought that he could beat Lamar Parrish, especially going inside on him and then breaking out to the corner. He says you have to work a little bit harder on a veteran defensive back, but it's possible. Here Freddie Scott makes a nice catch over the outside shoulder. Lamar Parrish trailing by a yard. And boy, at this moment, Lamar Parrish feels like the world is a tuxedo, and he's a pair of brown shoes.
Lonely
horrible
out there.
Feeling, horrible feeling.
Eddie Murray to attempt the extra point to pull the Lions to within 3. Hipple now has thrown 7 touchdowns. Snap, spot, kick, perfect. And with 1 second left in quarter number 1, Detroit, after falling behind big, trailing 10-0 by virtue of 3 costly turnovers, has pulled to within a field goal. The Lions on the short end, 10-7. And this is a stadium in which they have never, ever won.
Hipple gave him a big lift there. Obviously they rely on Billy Sims, but Eric Hipple is a man who got 10 touchdowns for him in the first 3 games that he played. He threw for a bunch and also ran for a couple. And next week, take a look at what most of you folks will be seeing. They're at Dallas, Detroit. Go at home though, where they're 4-0, takes on a tough Dallas team. Washington goes to the New York Giants, who are having their troubles again today, Jim.
Falling behind Green Bay very early, John, 17-0. Hey, you talk about some drive. They went 95 yards. They were backed up again. They started all the way at their own 5-yard line. 95 yards in 8 plays using about 4 minutes. As you look at the Dolphins have fallen behind the Patriots up at Foxborough 7-0.
And they did it, Jim, a way they don't usually do it. I mean, they're a team that relies on Billy Sims in the ground game, as I said, but yet Eric Hipple to Freddie Scott and to Leonard Thompson were the big plays on that drive. Hipple is maturing as a quarterback. I thought an interesting observation was made by Tim Rooney, Detroit Lions, as you look at Houston leading Oakland. He said that Eric Hipple was just like Joe Theismann, only without the experience. A live arm, good mobility, good leadership quality.
Hipple had some problems last week, though, John. He was throwing either over his receivers or a little bit behind them as he completed only 7 of 25 passes. The short kickoff by Eddie Murray down to the 30-yard line of the Redskins. Washington enjoys pretty good field position. Murray just shanked that one.
And Murray is one of the best kickers in the NFL. You have to be surprised at that. I don't really know how he hit it, but he's looking to go back to fix the grass. Maybe he's used to the Silver Dome, like the rest of the Lions, and performs a lot better there.
You take a look at the confidence that a Joe Gibbs has in his kick returner, Mike Nelms. Rather than take it 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line, after Murray kicks it out of bounds, they're going to back Murray up 5 yards and give Nelms another shot at it.
Now, Nelms is a big part of the offense. It says something about the Washington Redskins when your return man is that big a part of your team and your offense. Nelms provides that kind of a spark. As the quarter just ended, there's no time.
Illegal kickoff out of bounds as the quarter ended, and we'll turn around, and there'll be a re-kick with a 5-yard penalty, and the teams will exchange goals.
There you have it. Bob Frederick, who has almost as much airtime as John Dockery. That's quarter number 1. The Redskins are up by a field goal over Detroit Lion. We'll kick it again when we come right back. Stadium in Washington, the Redskins 10, the Lions 7. Eddie Murray, who kicked the tee the last time, will redo it this time from the 30. Mike Nelms awaits at the 10-yard line of the Redskins. A high end-over-end kick. Nelms will field it at the 4. Looks for the wedge. If he gets some room, look out. Up near the 27-yard line goes Mike Nelms, who averages almost 30 yards on every kickoff return. Homer Elias, 61 in there on the tackle for the Detroit Lions. Let's take a look at some more scores around the NFL today. The Vikings go up again, a 38-yard field goal by Rick Danmar to increase their lead to 6-0 over Tampa Bay. The big battle in the NFC Central today. The Vikes and the Bucks both tied at 5-4. The Cardinals have come back on a 41-yard touchdown toss from Jim Hart. The Eagles all deadlocked 7-all. And Green Bay has added another field goal. They're destroying the Giants in Milwaukee. Monk in motion to the far side. 1st and 10, Washington at their own 28. The delay to Joe Washington. Near the 30 in a host of blue and silver. Let's check the stats on Joe Washington this afternoon against Billy Sims and see how the two former Sooners are doing against one another. 8 carries, 31 yards for Joe Washington as you look at his stats coming in so far. And Billy Sims and his Detroit Lions on the short end, 10-7. From the 31-yard line of Washington, Theismann slot to the left side. Virgil C out wide. Monk in motion comes to the near side. Joe Washington Washington. Looks for a couple of blockers, gets sprung. Good block cutting back by Monk, but a flag on the play. Take a look at the Patriots. They've gone up, added a field goal. 27-yarder by John Smith. And the Oilers clinging to that lead. A couple of quarterback changes in that game. Mark Wilson, of course, going for the Oakland Raiders. And former Minnesota Viking, former Philadelphia Eagle John Reeves gets the call in Houston. You look at Bob Frederick, the referee. Maybe Art Monk didn't throw such a good block.
Illegal block above the waist on the offense, number 81. First down, second down.
A simple end run. The guards fully in front of Joe Washington. Monk on the crackback above. There he is on the crackback block. It looks like he hit number 44, Wayne Smith, above and behind. And that's the penalty.
Terry Metcalf is checked into the lineup now for the Washington Redskins. Virgil C. out wide to the left side. Monk to the right side. Theismann on first, second. Second down and 13. Incomplete out of the backfield, Terry Metcalf, and he's still got blazing speed, John.
And that's Ray Oldham, number 23, on the coverage, and that's something they'd like to do. I mean, normally you try to get a linebacker, a Washington or a Metcalf, a running back on a linebacker. That time, the safety should have been able to stay up with Metcalf, but he showed, as you said, Jim, that he still has good speed.
Terry Metcalf in his 6th year, of course, former St. Louis Cardinal out of Long Beach. Went up and played in the Canadian Football League for a while.
And really, Jim, has been used mostly as a receiver. Coming into today's game, he had 27 catches for almost 350 yards, 13 yards a catch. No TDs yet, though.
From the 25-yard line of the Redskins, Monk comes out wide to the right side. C to the top of your screen. In motion comes Terry Metcalf to the near side. Theismann needs 13. He's got 5 receivers out. Goes way up top. Incomplete. Overshooting Virgil C., the first-year man from Troy State, and the Redskins will kick it away.
Virgil C. showing good speed again. Hasn't played that much, but he ran by Hector Gray, the rookie who's filling in for the injured James Hunter. And I might add that Hector Gray has played very well and may present a problem when Hunter comes back, because Gray may go over and replace Wayne Smith on the left-hand side for the Lions. He hasn't played that well. Has been beaten deep a number of times this season.
You look as if you're Robbie Martin for the Detroit Lions, anticipating this punch by Mike Connell. 13:53 left. Look out. Almost blocked. Got away a wobbly kick. Martin will field at his own 33. They've got some blockers set up. 45, 50, 45. Cuts back inside the 40-yard line of the Skins down to the 39 of Washington. A fine punt return by Robbie Martin. Mark Murphy in there in the tackle for the Redskins.
Good return by Robbie Martin. The first few steps are the key to returning. Look at that wall. He runs by Redskins there, makes some of the yardage on his own. Good return, sets up Detroit in pretty good field position around 43. Watch Robbie Martin again. First few steps. He has time. Cuts up here, gets a good wall.
13:42 left to go in the first half. The Lions trail it by a field goal, but they start 1st and 10 at the Washington 39. A 43-yard punt by Mike Connell. Let's amend the return to about a 21-yard return. They say he stepped out of bounds at the 42-yard line. You look at the battle between Sims and Washington going on. Sims and the offense of the Detroit Lions in there right now. Hipple pitch back to Billy Sims. He explodes across the 40, and look out. Sims for the 20. Needs one to spring him down to the 12-yard line. 1st and 10 Detroit from that point. Monty Coleman caught him from behind. Otherwise, the Lions were in front.
Billy Sims. What can you say about Billy Sims? Just an extraordinary running back. You get an idea of why he won the Heisman Trophy, why he had over 1,300 yards rushing. Here's some good blocking, but he pops through that hole. Runs by Mark Murphy, and here, except for number 51, in great pursuit, it's a touchdown.
Take another look and watch Dave Butts. Also watch number 73 for the Lions, Russ Bollinger, who throws a good block to spring Billy Sims as he cut it back.
And number 65, Amos Fowler, the center, handled Butts pretty well that time.
From the 12-yard line, Hipple. Inside handoff. Nothing doing. Redskins plug it up pretty well. Well, we mentioned at the top of the telecast, John, we expected a wide-open offensive game. The Redskins jumped out in front 10-0, and the Lions now getting their act together, showing their character and coming back. Both defenses are a little suspect right now. Billy Sims getting a breather.
Exactly, and what has impressed me about Detroit to this point, Jim, is that they didn't panic after 3 turnovers. 2 of them led to scores. They were behind 10-0. They methodically came back. Got some good play from Hipple. Billy Sims is picking up the slack now, and they're threatening to score.
Hipple splits his wide receivers left and right. They go from the odd formation. Pitch back. Rick Kane, look out. Inside the 5, down to about the 2-yard line. Mark Murphy on the tackle. Otherwise, Kane had the touchdown. Billy Sims will check in.
Kane makes a nice cut here, and now you have an idea of why he had 7 carries last week for 40 yards. Cuts up field here. Heads for the goal line. Billy Sims might have gotten in, who knows, but Kane did a good job to bring him down to the 3-yard line. 50-year pro out of San Jose State. He hurt his shoulder last week, so you have to admire the fact that he ran so well right there. They weren't sure that he was going to play.
Redskins sending in the beef unit now. That goal line defense, they'll try to clog it up. Billy Sims has 7 rushing touchdowns on the year. Number 8 might be coming up, but right now the Lions decide they'd like to talk about it. So Eric Hipple will go over and confer with Monty Clark, and Joe Gibbs will try to regroup the Redskin defense. Detroit knocking on the Washington door coming up. 11:32 left to go in the first half. The Lions knocking on the Redskin door. They've got it at the 2.5-yard line. 29-yard field goal by Chris Barr, and the Oakland Raiders are all even with the Houston Oilers. Vince Thompson, 38, in there to block for Billy Sims. First and goal. Billy Sims maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Crawling on the ground, trying to get a little bit more, but Monty Coleman would not let him out of his grasp. What a workhorse.
Not much of a surprise when they get down near the goal line. Billy Sims is the man. They'll give him the ball. He is so strong, too. The average back probably would have gone down a lot sooner than Billy Sims did here. People on his back. He's still driving. He's small, but he's strong. I mean, he's only about 210 pounds, 6 feet tall, yet he's able to take that kind of a pounding here in the NFL.
Second and goal from the 2. Redskins defense digging in. 8 carries, 68 yards for Billy Sims. Slot to the right side. Hipple wants to throw it. Man open for a moment, clogged it up. Now Hipple's in a lot of trouble. Flag is down. Hipple, touchdown, but let's check the flag. 2 flags in the end zone. So Bob Frederick and his officiating crew will have to check it out.
Jim, it's interesting. He had Billy Sims open quickly out of the backfield. He didn't get him the ball. Then Sims was covered. Hipple looking around, couldn't find anyone, took it in for the touchdown, but we do have a penalty. If it is a touchdown, it's his 5th rushing of the year.
Well, they're having a conclave right now. You see Sims is open early.
Right now, if he delivered the ball right now, he has a linebacker beaten. It's a touchdown, but he doesn't get it to him. The linebacker recovers, number 52. That's Neil Olkowitz, the middle linebacker, coming over to cover. Let's hear what the referee has to say.
This after a conclave.
Defensive holding, number 23, refused, touchdown.
Tony Peters, let's take another look from the end zone.
Eric Hipple, this is the extra dimension that Hipple gives the Detroit Lion offense. His ability to scramble and to run. Here he shows good speed. He has good speed, quick feet, gets it in the end zone. His 5th rushing touchdown of the year.
Eddie Murray will try to increase the Detroit advantage right now. Cardinals have just gone up 10-7 against Philadelphia. 21-yard field goal by Neil O'Donoghue. St. Louis 10, Philadelphia 7. And the Lions, showing real character coming back after trailing 10-0, have just increased their lead here at RFK Stadium, where they have never ever won. 14-10. The Lions are on top. The Redskins offense, silent the last 2 drives, will come back and try to make up that deficit when we come right back. You look at Eric Hipple and what he has done in the last 3 games since taking over, leading the Detroit Lions to very impressive wins over the Chicago Bears in the Monday night game, and then against Green Bay. A loss last week in Detroit, though certainly not his fault. He was not up to par as far as his passing was concerned, but the Lions hurt themselves late in that football game with mistakes. They made mistakes early here, fall behind 10-0, but have come back to take a 14-10 lead. Wilbur Jackson for the Redskins bucks his way across the 25, up to the 27, and Joe Theismann and company take over 1st and 10 from that point. Homer Elias, Curtis Green in there on the tackle defensively for the Detroit Lions.
And you might note that both quarterbacks have beards, Jim. Is that something important?
Only if they're going to do shaving commercials.
As you look at New England, leading Miami 10-3, but quarterbacks have to be those kinds of dominant personalities. And I think people who sometimes wear beards, the psychologists would say, well, those are the people who take control. And Theismann's growing his since they started winning.
From the 26 of the Redskins, Joe Theismann, 1st and 10. Gives to John Riggins off the right side, up near the 30-yard line at about the 29. Pickup of 3. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7. Gary Cobb, the third-year man from USC, in there in the tackle. Nothing.
Take a look at the defensive left side for Detroit right here. That's Gary Cobb playing off the block, getting involved in the action. Of course, Cobb is the man who replaced Charlie Weaver, who eventually came here. He tries to strip the ball. Too late.
Charlie Weaver, of course, a former Detroit Lion, spent 11 years with the team. Picked up October 21st by the Washington Redskins. Virgil C. wide to the left side. Art Monk in motion to the top of your screen on 2nd and 7. John Riggins again. Nothing doing. Did well just to get back to the line of scrimmage. A convoy of Detroit Lions brought him down. You look at Joe Theismann, he got off to a hot hand early in the football game and has cooled off noticeably. Interesting the way Joe Gibbs has changed the complexion of his offense by inserting John Riggins, taking out Joe Washington after building up a 10-0 lead.
He's trying to get the most out of his personnel. I mean, I think you'll see Washington back, but it's amazing how Riggins can take a year off and yet still come back this season and be 12th in the NFC. Man has over 420 yards rushing, and that's with a year off. Very few athletes can do that. Requires extraordinary talent.
Riggins, 3 carries, 4 yards. Washington, 9 carries, 36 yards. Joe Theismann, 3 out of 9 for 64. Looks at 3rd and 7. Goes up. Got it open. Virgil C. First down and more. Foot race. Virgil C. out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Joe Theismann put it right on the money. Wayne Smith beaten in the foot race, and the Redskins are right back in it. John, we're going up and down the field. Whoever gets the football last is going to win this football game.
Now you'll know why defensive backs and cornerbacks are so important in the game. Here, Virgil C. just runs right by Wayne Smith. Nice throw by Theismann, up and over. Here it's a foot race. Smith can't get him, but it's Jimmy Allen coming over and knock him out of bounds and save a touchdown. Virgil C. touchdown last week. 51-yard. Watch this. Offensive line does a good job picking up the stunt. You don't see it now, but that's Virgil C. performing well. The rookie from Troy State.
John Dockery, the perfect man to talk about wide receivers and deep backs. He has played both in his career with Harvard, the Jets, and company. Monk in motion from the 12. A little delay. Joe Washington inside the 10. Knifes his way down to the 8-yard line. Pickup of 3. 2nd down. 7 yards to go. Doug English, the 6-year man from Texas, wrapped his big 6'5", 255 frame around Joe Washington.
And that's the biggest problem Detroit's had the last few weeks. They've been beaten on touchdown passes of 80, 70, 60 yards. And the man that's been having the biggest problem, of course, is Wayne Smith. The front 7 is excellent to Detroit. When you get to the secondary, you have some problems. And that's what just showed on Virgil C.'s reception.
Flood formation to the left side. Someone will come in motion. In this case, it's Walker, the tight end. Theismann got Walker open, but not in time. Theismann wisely pulled it down in the grasp of Bubba Baker, Gary Cobb and company.
Wisely pulled it down because it looked like Walker was open for a minute, but a Detroit defender jumped in front. Here comes Cobb on the blitz. Down goes Theismann. Wise, though. He could have thrown an interception there, but he wisely ate the ball. They still have a shot. It's only 3rd down and about 15.
Virgil C., the man that just grabbed that 60-yard strike from Theismann to give him a big 1st down, holding on to his left muscle there.
Looks like a hamstring muscle. He ran an awful long way with that ball and was trying to sprint away from Wayne Smith. Might have popped a few fibers off the hamstring.
Hey, credit the Detroit Lion defense now. 3rd and 15. They've been digging in. Theismann incomplete in the end zone, and that ball nearly was intercepted. Intended for Art Monk, but a fine defensive play for the Detroit Lions.
Hector Gray makes a good play here. Art Monk is the money man down near the end zone. He tries to throw it up and away, but Hector Gray, good position, goes up for the ball, almost intercepted it. It was number 83, Ricky Thompson, he was going to on that play.
Well, let's check Mark Mosley now. Theismann will hold in the vicinity of the 23-yard line, so tack 10 on. This will be a 33-yard try for Mosley. He's 3 out of 4 between the 30 and the 39. Snap, spot, kick. That would have been good from 49. He nailed it. And the Washington Redskins, after leading 10-0 and falling behind 14-10, have closed the Lion advantage to just 1 point. 14-13, the Redskin kickoff coming up. Jim Kelly, John Dockery back at RFK Stadium next week on CBS. The Rams take their high-powered offense now with a new quarterback at the controls, Dan Pastorini, up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Kenny Anderson having a fine, fine year.
And who would have thought early in the year that Cincinnati would be 6-3, leading the Central Division? But Pittsburgh, you can never count out. They're 5-4 right behind.
Robbie Martin, look out. Loose football. The Redskins are on it in the end zone. Touchdown, Washington. Unless they say the momentum was stopped, but it looked to me as if the Redskins fell out into the end zone.
Why in the world would Robbie Martin try to pick up that ball when he knows the thundering herd is bearing down on him? Ball on it, recover.
Touchback. The touchback.
Well,
Robbie Martin before took a ball
Touchback. The ball
inside.
was never possessed. The ball was never possessed
The
by
ball
the
was never
receiving
possessed
team
there. He misses
until
it.
in the end zone. Touchback.
But here,
First down on the 20-yard line.
you heard the referee. It was never possessed. That's the reason Robbie Martin, instead of falling on it, tries to pick it up. The Redskins recover in the end zone.
right there, the Redskins clearly had it in the end zone, but in the view of the officials, Robbie Martin never had possession. So this sellout crowd, the 113th consecutive sellout at RFK, is going to let Bob Fredericks and his officials know exactly what they think of that call.
A chorus of boos as you look at New England.
What a
over
break for the
Miami.
Detroit Lions.
Exactly.
What a break.
What a break.
Could have turned that game right around. 1st and 10 from the 20. Hipple, hands off. Around the right side, and the Redskin defense responding. That's Vince Thompson on the carry, Monty Coleman on the grab. New England 17-3, a 3-yard touchdown run by Steve Grogan. And the Oilers have gone out in front over Oakland 10-3, a 1-yard touchdown plunge by Earl Campbell.
And I think you touched the point there that the Redskin defense needs to get a little bit aroused. There they showed some fire. Last 3 weeks, they've allowed over 400 yards. As we look at a Redskin player down, looks like number 24, Lamar Parrish.
All right, let's take a look again at Robbie Martin. And did he have possession? He had 2 shots at it. Right here, he's confused.
Never had possession.
That's a muff at the 18-yard line. Now he goes back. He's going to try to pick the ball up. All you've got to do is fall on it to maintain possession. That was a very careless play right there. And the Redskins again clearly fell on it in the end zone, but too little too late since Martin never had possession.
Lamar Parrish on his feet appears to be okay. You know that cornerbacks are indestructible, Jim.
If you're from Harvard, you are, right?
If you're from Harvard, you don't want to play cornerback in the NFL, unless you're kind of a strange fellow.
Jarris White, number 45, will attempt to replace Lamar Parrish, who leaves. 2nd down and 8, and the Redskin fans still understandably upset with that apparent touchdown. That wasn't. Slot formation to the right side. Backs are split. Bussey and Sims for the Detroit Lions. Hipple to throw. Man wide open. 1st down. Freddie Scott at the 44, the 45-yard line of the Washington Redskins, and that ball was right on the money.
Good choice by Hipple also. He had Leonard Thompson, number 39, clearing out. Freddie Scott did an out pattern behind him. Good throw by Hipple. Wise choice.
And a smart play by the Detroit Brain Trust again, because right away when you take Lamar Parrish out, Jarris White comes in, the 8-year man from Hawaii, and you test him right away early in the football game, John.
A good idea. And look at the fake, which held the defensive line. Actually, the ball carrier was tackled here. He delivers the ball to Freddie Scott for the 1st down. Good throw.
What a turnaround. Redskins an apparent touchdown, and instead the Lions on the move at their own 45. Hipple to air it out on 1st down. A little square out. Freddie Scott. 1st down. The Lions, Peters and Lavender back there on the coverage, and all of a sudden Hipple is getting hot.
No, we had a little confusion in the backfield. It looked like Lavender was playing off. Peters was also deep. Scott was wide open. You and I could have completed this pass. Very simple square out. Defensive backs are laying way off. Scott catches it, makes a little move here to get away from Lavender, but Peters is there to make the tackle. Gets a little help from his friends.
And another 1st down for the Lions. They're on the move. 6:14 left to go in the 1st half. Eric Hipple, 7 out of 9, 139 yards, 1 touchdown. 1 passing, 1 running. Hipple again on 1st down. Good pass protection. Sideline right, man. Wide open, Freddie Scott again. 1st down, Lions inside the 25 of Washington. He beat Lamar Parrish.
There's some confusion in the Washington secondary.
There's a lot of confusion.
An awful lot. Why in the world Freddie Scott is just wide open? He does this down and out. and then takes it back up. Number 23, Tony Peters, lets him go. The deep man is not there to cover him. Freddie Scott has a first down.
That was Lamar Parrish who was beaten on the play. 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line of the Redskins. Freddie Scott wide to the left side. Leonard Thompson to the right side. Billy Sims coming at you. Down he goes. In the grasp of Tony Peters, the 7-year man from Oklahoma. Good one-on-one tackle. Olkowitz, number 52, helped out, as you see. Redskin defense has got to start asserting themselves a little bit here, John.
Exactly, Jim. I was going to say, as you look at Freddie Scott, 6 receptions, 118 yards. Not only that, but he's so wide open. The Redskin defense is not one of the better in the league, as we talked about. They have to come with some pressure on Nickel. Have to come with the blitz. Rely on those veteran corners to cover the wide receivers a little bit tighter.
From the 27 of Washington, 2nd and 13. Receivers left and right backs are split. Bussey and Sims. Hipple, look out. Got his man. He's got the back, Billy Sims, on the linebacker, and he's still not down. What a play by Billy Sims. He beat Mel Kaufman, who had 2 interceptions last week, the rookie, and then finally Mark Murphy. The Redskins simply gave up. They thought he was down.
And Mel Kaufman, a mistake by him, and Richie Petterbone told us about Mel Kaufman, the rookie, who was playing so well in place of the injured Brad Dusek, great open field tackler. But here, Billy Sims, it's one-on-one, getting that fine running back on the linebacker. You've heard it so many times. Here, Hipple delivers the ball outside to Sims. And Kaufman, for some reason, assumes he's down, jumps over Billy Sims. Sims gets up, looks at the referee, says, can I run?
No, all you've got to do is touch him. All you've got to do is put a hand on him when he's on the ground, right?
Exactly.
From the 9-yard line, 1st and goal. Pitch back, Billy Sims. Look out. He explodes across the 5 down to the 2-yard line. Billy Sims, a one-man wrecking crew against the Washington Redskins here this afternoon. Mark Murphy made the tackle.
Getting up a little bit slow, but so reminiscent of Jim Brown and O.J. and those great backs who conserve themselves a little bit and watch it coming towards you. Billy Sims ducks inside, and what all the great backs have is that acceleration. See him duck inside the block there, gets a good block, takes it outside, almost gets it in with that great body lean and desire.
Take another look at the lead block right here, thrown by Vince Thompson, the 1st-year man from Villanova, free agent, as Sims just explodes and then knifes his way in from the 2. I formation. Billy Sims, look out. Down to the 1-yard line. That was his 11th carry, 73 yards, and we're still in the first half. And if there was any doubt, John Dockery, about his health, because he wasn't at 100% last week against the Los Angeles Rams, he certainly is putting on a show here this afternoon.
He certainly is, and good penetration by the Washington defensive line prevents Sims. Had Sims gone up and over the top, he might have gotten it in. Billy might be slightly, and I'm not saying this as a derogatory comment, might not be in as good a shape as he was when he got 185 yards against Denver 4 weeks ago.
Last week against Los Angeles, Sims 14 carries, 66 yards. Big 3rd down play for the Detroit offense and for the Washington defense. Billy Sims, touchdown. Up and over. Hello there. But we talk about character and the way the Detroit Lions have come back from a 10-0 deficit. This is certainly going to test the Washington Redskins' character here this afternoon. You have a 10-0 lead. You're in command. 3 costly turnovers against the Lions. The Lions have come back and taken complete charge of this football game.
Certainly. Watch him again. He looks like Herschel Walker yesterday. Watch him take it up and over. Good way to go down here because the defensive line is penetrating low. The best way is to take it over the top. Hope a linebacker doesn't meet you in midair.
Eddie Murray to attempt the extra point and increase the Lion advantage to 21-13. Is perfect. 2:58 left to go in the first half, an 8-point Detroit Lion advantage. They marched 80 yards. They used 4:46 on the clock in just 9 plays. And, of course, don't forget the key play was the fumbled kickoff in which possession was never maintained. It was fallen on in the end zone, and then instead of being a Washington touchdown, it was 1st and 10 in favor of the Lions. They marched 80 yards. You see, coming up at halftime, Brent and Irv will have all the scores around the NFL today, and some big games there are. Right now, the Philadelphia Eagles have just taken a 14-10 lead over the Cardinals, a 33-yard run and pass play from Jaworski to Rodney Parker. Eagles go up by 4 there in the second quarter there. The Bears have taken a quick 7-0 lead over Kansas City. Vince Evans, a 12-yard scoring strike to Ricky Watts. And one other score, the Vikings in complete command over Tampa Bay in the big battle in the NFC Central, 13-10, a 2-yard touchdown run by Ted Brown. Brent Nerve will have highlights for you at halftime. And the Giants coming back against the Packers. That was a 20-0 game, Green Bay at one point.
Might have taken the Giants a little bit of time to recover from last week's beating they took at the hands of the Jets. As Philadelphia 14-10 over St. Louis, second quarter. Tampa Bay losing to Minnesota 13-zip. New England 17-3 over Miami. That also in the second quarter, as is that final score also in the second quarter, Houston Oakland.
Mike Nelms at the 2. He averages 30 yards on these kickoff returns. Got some running room. Look out. Only 2 Lions could stop him. He gets it back to the 28. Jeff Delaney, number 45, in there in the tackle. Mike Nelms, you look at him, one of the leading kickoff and punt returners in the NFC. There's the Bears score against Kansas City. Chiefs are tied, 3-way tie in that AFC West right now with Denver and the Chargers. And, of course, the Dolphins, they're at 6-2-1. Buffalo 6-3-0.
What a surprise. New England, a 2-7 team beating a 6-2 team in Miami. Of course, Miami that one tie versus the Jets.
2:47 left to go in the half. Theismann will not waste any time. 5 receivers out. Theismann to Monk. He's got a first down and more. Down at the 40-yard line of the Lions. Wayne Smith, the second-year man from Purdue, back there in the coverage. But the pass was right on the money to Monk.
It's hard to put your finger on Monk, but this is the pattern that he runs as well as anyone. You see a little play-action fake to Riggins. Theismann delivers the ball on the line. Monk running the post pattern. Very clear, good hands. Makes the catch and takes a big hit. Oh. Watch Smith. Here's Smith in his back pedal, trying to keep that cushion. Monk takes it downfield, has a good break inside. The ball is delivered well. Smith, not the worst coverage in the world, gets a little help from the inside with Ray Oldham, number 23, and we have a Detroit Lion on the ground. Can't tell who it is yet, Jim.
Johnny, you played for Harvard. You were a wide receiver, a deep back for the Crimson there, and then with the New York Jets, you played both ways, offensively and defensively. When you're a defensive back and you see that wide receiver coming down, you know his intent is to just drive you backwards, and you never know whether he's going to turn it inside and outside. What goes through your mind at that point?
The challenge there, Jim, is to keep that cushion. Wayne Smith kept his cushion for a long time. You don't want that wide receiver to get any more than maybe 2, 2.5, 3 yards close to you, because if he does, then he's going to run right by you, and he forces you to turn. There on that last play, as you look at Ray Oldham on the ground, let's watch it again. Here Oldham comes over to help out on Monk. Comes in, they sandwich Monk in between them. Oldham goes down, he twists himself around.
It looked like Wayne Smith actually got his helmet into the side of Oldham right there. Johnny, back to what we're talking about, though, when you're a defensive back and you're not sure whether that wide receiver is going to turn it inside or outside. You as a defensive back, can you cheat at all? Because you want him, if he's going to go either way at all, to go inside. Well, actually, you want him to go outside because it's a more difficult throw for the quarterback.
It's a more difficult throw, but the problem there, Jim, is that normally you'll have some help inside, as Wayne Smith did on that play from Ray Oldham. Oldham didn't get there soon enough because Theismann got the ball there in a hurry just after the break. So really, it's a problem as you, for a defensive back, to try to keep that cushion and hope that the rush gets, without a rush, forget it. You can't play cornerback.
A lot of good defensive backs for the Bengals, also for the Los Angeles Rams, notably Nolan Cromwell, as they take their act on the road against Cincinnati, 12:30 Eastern time on CBS next week. The Dallas Cowboys at Detroit. Detroit, of course, playing much better at the Silverdome than they do on the road. And the Cowboys, sometimes an up-and-down team on the road. You look at Monty Clark, head coach of the Detroit Lions right there. His team 0-8 at RFK Stadium.
And if Ray Oldham, he's had problems in his defensive backfield, Monty Clark has, and certainly James Hunter, probably, definitely their defensive back is out with a broken arm. He's expected back in a couple of weeks. If Ray Oldham can't play, we'd probably see Luther Bradley, the #1 draft choice in 1978 out of Notre Dame, as they work on Ray Oldham on the ground.
Take a look at the battles of the quarterback here this afternoon. The book on Joe Theismann and Eric Hipple. Hipple has run for 1 touchdown. He's thrown for another. Now, we told you at the top of the telecast this was going to be a wide-open football game with both defenses somewhat suspect. Indeed, it has. 34 points put on the board so far. 21 for the Lions, 13 for the Redskins, and we've still got 2:18 left to go in the first half, and the Redskins are driving. It'll be first down, 10 yards to go for Washington at the 41-yard line of Detroit as soon as Ray Oldham has some medical attention. And of course, you mentioned Luther Bradley. Bradley might come in from Notre Dame. He's traveling with a dentist. He's got a tooth problem, which is one of the reasons he's not seen action so far. Let's take a look at that controversial touchdown that wasn't when the muff kickoff here. It went apparently to
Robbie Martin missing it right there, Jim. He didn't have. Watch this as the ball rolls in the end zone. It's hard to figure out. Here, Martin tries to pick it up. But
right there is when he should have fallen on the ball.
Exactly right. And there's a big scramble for the ball here in the end zone. And believe it or not, as you look at the big pile, somehow the Lions recovered and got a touchback at the ball at the 20-yard line versus giving up a touchdown to the Washington Redskins, a key turning point in the game.
The rushing yardage so far in the first half and which Oklahoma Sooner is winning it, no question about it. Billy Sims of the Detroit Lions.
Of course, Joe Washington splitting a lot of the time with John Riggins in this game.
They are still attending to Ray Oldham, the 9-year veteran from Middle Tennessee, 5'10", 192, a free agent. As he got a helmet in his right side as he came over to assist on the tackle with Wayne Smith. And he's groggily going over to the sideline. Now let's see if we can get the replacement in there to see if indeed it's Luther Bradley, the 4-year man from Notre Dame, a first-round draft pick back in 1978. In he comes, number 27. Bad tooth and all.
Bad tooth and all. It's an important situation for the Lions. I mean, they're ahead 21-13 with the Redskins driving. Bradley has to do a job at that strong safety position for them.
Redskins have the football and an 8-point deficit, 21-13. First and 10 at the 41 of Detroit. Little square out, got his man, Virgil C., near the 30, close to first down yardage. And then he is really stacked up. Alvin Hall out of Miami of Ohio, another free agent, came over and just hung on and wouldn't let Virgil go. Clock winding down, and we're at the 2-minute warning right now. Take another look.
Actually, there's a safety blitz by Luther Bradley on the backside. You don't see it here. He just delivers it on a hitch. Here, Alvin Hall picks him up and says, that's enough. Down you go. Watch the safety blitz. Bradley just came in. He hardly ran from the sidelines. He keeps running, comes. Riggins picks him up. He's no factor.
So right now, Washington has all 3 timeouts left. We're at the 2-minute warning. The Redskins trail it by 8, 21-13. Jim Kelly, John Dockery back at RFK Stadium in Washington. You look at the time remaining in the first half. Redskins on the short end. The Lions are up 21-13. Washington with all 3 timeouts left. Virgil C., Terry Metcalf, Joe Washington in there right now. Monk in motion to the top of your screen. First and 10 from the 31. Theismann floods the zone, in trouble. Got a man open downfield. Will have to scamper out of bounds and stop the clock and save a timeout. Smart play by the veteran out of Notre Dame, Joe Theismann, chased out by Stan White, who came over from Baltimore in a trade back in 1980, the 10-year veteran out of Ohio State.
And Doug English put on some rush, number 78, on Theismann. He really didn't have much time to set up and find a receiver. A tremendous pressure from the defense in front 4 of Detroit.
On that last play, John, there's a case where Troy State's first-year man, Virgil C., should have come back. He ran a corner pattern, was down in the end zone. He saw Theismann in trouble, and that's when you, if you're a quarterback, you want your receiver to come back toward you. He didn't do that, so consequently Theismann had nowhere to throw the ball and had to hustle out of bounds.
Exactly right, Jim.
He still managed to pick up a yard. Inside handoff, Joe Washington, goodbye. First down and more. Inside the 20, knifes his way down to the 18, and the Redskins quickly call timeout. Gary Cobb in there in the tackle. The veteran from USC, you take another look.
Quickness up the middle. Joe Washington, a trap. Nice trap by the guard. That's Russ Grimm on the center. Washington makes some on his own right here. Good quick hitting play by Washington Redskins. Nice execution by their offensive line.
And a good call because you've got the Lions backed up thinking pass, so you explode through the middle there. The line did the job. Timeout of Washington. They've got 2 timeouts left. 1:44 left to go in the first half. Joe Washington now 11 carries and 54 yards. And you saw that Billy Sims had rushed for over 74 yards.
Call this game the Oklahoma Rushing Show. Of course, there are some quarterbacks doing a job here. Joe Theismann running the offense very intelligently right now, just mixing it up, as you said. Nice ball on that last play, but also completing some important passes. Minnesota shutting out Tampa Bay, 16-zip in the second quarter.
Both teams are 5-4 in the key battle today around the NFL. In the NFC Central, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Minnesota Vikings. And were it not for a missed field goal on Monday night, the Vikings would have sole possession of first place.
Exactly right. Can you believe that call by Reeves in his own territory? A couple of minutes left with the #1 defense to Denver.
Well, the interesting thing, though, is the way Minnesota was moving up and down the field by passing, after they threw that little square-out pass to Joe Sensor that was almost intercepted, it seemed as if Bud Grant got conservative. He called 2 consecutive running plays to Ted Brown when you knew you needed another 5 to 8 yards to get into range for your field goal.
And he knows the limitations of Dan Meyer's capacity to kick the field goals. I'm surprised.
From the 18 of the Lions, in motion, Joe Washington. Theismann works on 1st and 10. Lions up by 8. Sideline right. Broken pattern. Monk turned it inside. And the pass was thrown outside by Joe Theismann, who didn't want to risk the interception. Kansas City's on the board. A 34-yard field goal by Nick Lowry. The Bears are out in front over the Chiefs, however, 7-3. Kansas City locked in a 3-way deadlock with Denver and the Chargers in that AFC West.
I think it's an interesting point here that we should make about Joe Theismann. It's a change for him under Joe Gibbs. Everything, every play is read on the run. Where the receivers are reacting to the defense and doing different things, the quarterback is required to read after the ball is snapped. That time, Metcalf and Theismann couldn't hook up on the read.
Flood to the left side. See Metcalf and Thompson. Monk to the right side. Theismann wants all of it. Goes up top. Got Monk inside the 10. Out of bounds at the 7. And that should be close to a first down. Again, the Redskins with 2 timeouts remaining.
It's hard to figure out who Art Monk is like, but I have to say that he's something like Jerome Barkham. Not great speed, not great quickness, but excellent hands, runs beautiful patterns. Here he makes the catch, takes it out of bounds, very close to the first down.
And the man he was working over there, Alvin Hall, the first-year man from Miami of Ohio, 5'10", 193, a free agent who has 1 interception on the year. Now, Riggins checks it. Washington checks out, along with Terry Metcalf. So on 3rd and less than a yard, the short yardage back, John Riggins. Of course, the last time they needed a yard, they ran the halfback option pass, and it was a long incompletion. Riggins, first down. And the Redskins quickly will call timeout. And Joe Theismann will confer with Joe Gibbs and company. Redskins down 21-13, a minute and a half left to go in the first half.
And you might have guessed that the Redskins would have run the ball to the right side because that's where the strength of their offensive line is. Ron Saul, 12-year veteran, number 64 out of Michigan State, and George Starkey, the 9th-year man out of Columbia, 2 steady offensive linemen. As you look at our score, Detroit leading 21-13. Minute and a half left. Riggins, big, strong back, gets a little blocking from that right-hand side line, as I told you. Just about gets that first down. Good penetration by the Detroit defense.
John Riggins, the veteran, number 44, played alongside the man I'm alongside this afternoon, John Dockery. Both enjoyed Super Bowl rings.
Well, actually, John Riggins came a little bit later. And the Jets, it's ironic, Jim, that the Jets, after drafting Riggins number 1 in 1971, didn't go for another running back in the first round until this year when they took Freeman McNeil. I don't think that's a comment on John Riggins. He certainly performed very well for the Jets, as he's doing right now for the Washington Redskins.
And, of course, Riggins, as you look at big number 44, came into the game needing only 34 yards to surpass the great Leroy Kelly.
And there you see an interesting stat, 3rd in rushing.
Inside stop to Joe Washington. Kind of a strange call in 1st and goal from the 7. Clock winding down, 1:20 and counting. Doug English, the 6-year man from Texas, clogged up the middle, and Washington didn't have much room to run. He just barely got back to the line of scrimmage. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7. We're inside a minute 15 as the clock winding down. Washington has just 1 timeout remaining. They flood the left side. Ricky Thompson over there, along with Virgil C. and Terry Metcalf. Monk out wide to the right side. Theismann wants Monk. Theismann got Monk. Redskins touchdown. 7-yard scoring strike, and Washington is right back in this game. He beat Alvin Hall, the first-year man from Miami of Ohio, and Washington trails it by 2. Mark Mosley will try to cut it to 1.
Jim, this is almost a carbon copy of last week. If you're a cornerback and watching films, you saw what they did last week versus St. Louis. Here, Monk goes up, makes a fine catch, ball slightly thrown behind for the touchdown.
How many times did we see that play run yesterday as we watched the Redskins work out at Redskins Park somewhere between here and halfway to the Mason-Dixon line as we watched their 2-minute offense? Mosley nails it, and the Redskins are back in this football game. Detroit 21, Washington 20. And we've still got 58 seconds to go in the first half.
Excuse me, Jim, just talking about that touchdown again. It's almost a cliche when you get down there and that cornerback is playing inside on a bump and run. You just throw the ball up and away and let the receiver go and get it. The only way a defensive back might counter that is to play head up and get that one good bump to knock the receiver off his route down there. Alvin Hall didn't do it. Monk did his thing. Theismann delivered the ball. Touchdown.
That's the key in a play like that. You've got to destroy the quarterback's time.
You must. If you just allow him to throw it up and over the top, the result will be you'll be beaten for a touchdown. It's a little bit of a gamble because if you do play head-up position, he's liable to break it inside on the post, but I think you'd rather do that than just give away a touchdown.
You know, when you flood the left side, as we looked at Brent and Irv will be coming up at halftime with highlights and scores and a very special halftime feature around the NFL today. You flood the left side as they did with with Terry Metcalf over there. And you put one-on-one coverage as far as Monk is concerned. Very good point. You're trying to isolate. They did it, and it worked. But if you're a defensive back, you're thinking that. You see all the receivers on the other side. You know Monk is their favorite touchdown receiver. You say to yourself, they're coming this way. What play do they like? And you try to disrupt it. You gamble a little bit. Well, the last time we saw Mosley kick off, we saw Robbie Martin muff it. And all sorts of controversy ensued. Mosley with a one-step approach and a short, wobbly kickoff that hits at the 20. And this time is fielded cleanly by Martin at the 15 to the 20. Looks for some blocks, doesn't get it. Down in the 23 in the grasp of Rick Walker, number 88, who also doubles up as a tight end. So Eric Hipple and company break out. 1st and 10 from their own 23-yard line. And they've got 53 ticks on the clock, and they've got 2 timeouts with which to work. I think what Detroit does now in this situation will tell us something about the maturity of the team and where they stand. And sitting on it, I would try to get it in field goal range and take a shot at scoring. This game is a 1-point lead is not going to do much for you. Detroit has sat on leads in the past and lost games against Minnesota, against San Diego. No, I think they've got to throw the ball up too with this much time left in both timeouts, and Hipple will air it out. Little screen pass intended for the back and a flag on the play. Bob Frederick, the referee, threw it. Brooks and Wilbur Young were the man in pursuit of Eric Hipple. Let's check the flag. You don't think that's intentional grounding, do you, John? Well, it's going to be interesting to hear the call. He certainly did throw it away, but the other possible call was Monty Coleman on the back of... let's listen.
Intentional grounding, offensive quarterback, loss of a down, 2nd down.
Well, that will certainly change your call now. Exactly. Run the clock out, go in with a 1-point lead at halftime. Redskins still have 1 timeout left, so if they run into the line here, it wouldn't surprise us at all if Washington used 1 timeout. There's the book on Eric Hipple in the first half, almost equaling last week's stats against the Los Angeles Rams. Inside handoff, Horace King. Pretty good yardage, but the clock is winding down inside of 40 seconds. And now timeout is asked for by the Detroit Lions, so they're not intent to sit on it at all. Which tells me something about their team. Good teams don't sit as they try to get points on the board anytime they can. Detroit in the past, maybe they've learned from their mistakes. Maybe they are maturing. That's been their biggest problem. Believing, as we said at the top of the show, that they can beat the good teams in the big games. I mean, when you look at their record of 4-5, they got San Francisco early and beat them. They came back and shut out Oakland, and then they beat Chicago and Green Bay. Those teams are not, except for San Francisco, the most dominant in the league. They have to learn how to beat the Minnesotas, the San Diegos, the Tampa Bays, the Denvers, the teams they lost to. This is a very interesting timeout that they took, though, John, because now you've got 38 seconds left to go in the first half. The ball is backed up on your own 18. You're faced with a 3rd and 16. So if you call the passing play, it goes incomplete. You then are going to punt the ball away with about 30 or 25 seconds left to go in the first half, and the Washington Redskins with 1 timeout left to go. If you run a running play, you'd expect that the Redskins would utilize their last timeout and try to set Mosley up in field goal position. So you really wonder why the Lions utilized the timeout right here when they've still got 3rd and 16. I'd have to agree with you, Jim, even though they're trying to show that they are anxious to put points on the board. In that situation, 3rd and long down your own territory, it might not be the wisest thing that you could have done. I think you'll just see him run the ball here. If you throw it up trying to get that first down, it's a long pass, it's a high-risk pass, and if it's intercepted, you give the Redskins a great shot to score. Hipple came in having thrown 5 interceptions, 6 touchdown passes, and running for 4 touchdowns. The running backs are Horace King, 25, Rick Kane, 32, Billy Sims, the money player, not even in there, and Hipple will air it out at 3rd and 16. The safe sideline pass, the man is open. First down, Detroit. Did he get it? A great grab by Freddie Scott as he turned Joe Lavender completely around, and that's a big first down. Take another look.
I have to admire the maturity and the guts of the play calling and the execution by Hipple. Here, Freddie Scott does the deep out. Lavender not close enough. Scott makes a good catch diving on the ground. First down.
You really wonder where Joe Lavender was on that play because the wide receiver knew where the first down yardage was. The defender should have been there. From the 37, Hipple not content. He's got 30 seconds. Goes deep. Got Dave Hill. Big tight end incomplete at the 30-yard line. And a flag on the play all the way back in the Detroit backfield. Holding Detroit. We're seeing a little bit of everything so far in this first half.
Good call. Dave Hill has that speed to get deep. He's been playing well lately. Ball was slightly overthrown. Tony Peters did a good job covering it.
You get the feeling this half is a long way from being over, even with 26 seconds. I mean, the Lions had a penalty the last time they came back and got a big first down. Lions have been penalized.
Offensive holding, number 70.
5 times for 54 yards against Detroit. 1 penalty, 10 yards against the Washington Redskins.
This game is certainly a long way from being over. We thought it was a toss-up going in, and certainly it is, with the Lions leading 21-20, with just 26 seconds left.
Lions have a flood formation on the left side. 3 wide receivers. They're running the deep fly pattern. Lavender and Terry picked off. Washington comes up with the interception at their own 38-yard line. Mark Murphy from Colgate, his 4th interception on the year. Hipple hung it up there. It's a big, costly turnover.
This is just a throwaway. This is a bad situation. Obviously, Murphy's playing very, very deep. Hipple just throws it up. Murphy, playing center field, reacts to the ball, has all the time in the world on that looping throw, makes the interception. Bad play. Giving the ball back to Washington. There's only 19 seconds left. Skins have 1 timeout. They might just get it in field goal range to go ahead.
Well, they've got to pick up about 30 or 35 yards to get into range for Mark Mosley. Virgil C., Terry Metcalf, Ricky Thompson, Art Monk, all in there at wide receiver right now for the Redskins. From their own 39, 1st and 10. Theismann, 19 ticks left on the clock and 1 timeout. 5 receivers are out. Over the middle, he's got Joe Washington. Broken field. Looks for somebody to pick up the block. Looks for a lateral now. 45-yard line and ran backwards. Luther Bradley, the 4-year man from Notre Dame, and they are no timeout. That's it. He used up all 19 seconds.
But he was looking to lateral it to number 7, Joe Theismann. This looks like some kind of a game out of the old AFL in the 60s. A wild and woolly contest.
Remember, you used to play on the playground. You'd say, all right, go down to the fire hydrant and cut to the left. That's it. That's the end of the first half. With the score, the Detroit Lions 21, the Washington Redskins 20, a little bit of everything. All that play amounted to was a pickup of 2 yards. I don't think Theismann wanted that lateral, John.
I know he didn't want it back. I mean, in this situation, you want to take an extra pounding, but yeah, go down, you hook, I'll throw it to you, you pitch it back to me, all kinds of wild stuff. Joe Washington, though, just looking for a place to run it, hoping to get some kind of a wild play for a touchdown, but no dice.
As a former player, is this a fun kind of a football game to be in, or is this kind of confusing where teams go up and down the field on you?
It's kind of confusing because you don't have a real rhythm for the game. The momentum keeps changing back and forth, and you really can't get into it. The game's on the line. It can go either way, Jim.
Okay, we're at halftime with the Lions clinging to a precarious 1-point lead over the Washington Redskins. Sellout here at RFK Stadium in Washington. The Redskins are down to Detroit by just 1 point. We're at halftime. Jim Kelly, John Dockery, member of the 1969 New York Jets Super Bowl team. He was a wide receiver on that team and then played defensive back for the next 4 years. Is there any significance in that?
Jim, too hard to play wide receiver. Actually, defensive back, I think, is a lot tougher position, but I would have played anything. I played backup quarterback, place kicker, special teams, carried the water to Weeb Eubank. I would have done anything to play.
Never played quarterback, did you?
Never played. Almost got in a game. Here's Nelms. Oh, what a big threat for Washington. Last week ran 84 yards with the return, but didn't score. Let's see what he does right here on the second half kickoff.
You see today he's averaging 26.5 yards per kickoff return. 30 is his season average. Eddie Murray strikes it, and it goes over to Wilbur Jackson at the 10-yard line, to the 15, to the 20. Looks for some blocking, gets to the 25, up to the 26-yard line, and that's where Joe Theismann and the Washington Redskins will start. Wilbur Jackson, his first game back after knee injury suffered in the Philadelphia Eagles game. game in which the Redskins pulled to within 14-13 and then collapsed late in the fourth quarter to get blown away by the Philadelphia Eagles. John Riggins, number 44, opens up at the running back. Rick Walker and Don Warren, 88 and 85 respectively, as the Redskins go with the double tight end alignment. Art Monk, wide receiver number 81. First and 10, Washington, down 21-20 to Detroit. Riggins gets the call, just straight ahead. Nothing fancy, a basic play. Picks up maybe 1, second down and 9. Doug English, Gary Cobb clogging up the middle. And what a job the Minnesota Vikings are doing, John, this afternoon against Tampa Bay.
Look at that score, 23-0 over Tampa Bay. Tommy Kramer to Ricky Young. I mean, Kramer and the Vikings, they lost that Monday night game, but they've easily won it on that field goal attempt. I think the Vikings are the team to be reckoned with in the NFC Central.
Joe Washington checks in. John Riggins checks out. Joe Washington, of course, a little bit more versatile. Riggins, 5 carries, just 6 yards, an off afternoon for him. Monk in motion to the near side of your screen. Theismann looks at second down and 9. Squares it out to Metcalf. Metcalf, broken field runner, look out. Cuts it up to the 45, up to the 50. Terry Metcalf needed one more block to go all the way. Dave Purifoy in there on the tackle, otherwise he was gone. Ron Saul, number 64, the 12-year veteran guard out of Michigan State. And Lions fans back in that great state of Michigan are familiar with him. Take a look at the big block he throws.
Jim, exactly right. Good block by Saul. But who can forget Metcalf back at St. Louis? Goes to Canada for a while, comes back, shows that he still has that quickness, that cutting ability, almost takes it all the way right there.
Monk wide to the left side, C to the right side. C's got the football, and he's got a one-on-one situation. Good grab out there in the flat by Alvin Hall from Miami of Ohio.
And Theismann, when we talked to him yesterday, Jim told us that he wasn't going to hold that ball very long. He was going to set up quickly and throw it to his wide receivers and his backs. That's exactly what he's done on the first 2 plays here in the second half. He's afraid of that rush, a Detroit silver rush, with Gay and English and Purifoy and Baker.
Well, you would be too, wouldn't you? Purifoy is 6'1", 255. Gay is 6'3", 250. English is only 6'5", 255 and growing. And Bubba Baker, 6'6", and 250.
And they picked up that first down. Of course, Bubba Baker last year led the NFL with 18 sacks. This year he has 7, English 4. Purifoy, the man leading that silver rush, with 8.5 sacks coming into today's game. That's big Bubba.
Bubba playing on a sore toe. Can you imagine what he'd do if he were 100%? Wouldn't want to have Bubba mad at him. C, 5 catches, 108 yards. John Riggins back in. Riggins has got room to ramble. Out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. A pickup of 5 for the big guy. 10-year veteran, John Riggins, former teammate of John Dockery.
Watch Bubba here. Actually, Ken Fintetti makes the tackle. That's the middle linebacker, number 57. But Bubba Baker, watch him on the right-hand side there, has good pursuit, has excellent mobility here. He's getting a job done on him, though, by Jacoby, number 66, the rookie out of Louisville, doing an excellent job, has strong arms. Talked to the coach before the game. Jacoby has those big, strong arms, not great feet, but once he gets you up top, he's tough to get around.
Monk wide to the left side, C to the right side. In motion goes Walker to the top of your screen. Theismann gives to Joe Washington, got room on the left side. Knights his way back in across the 35, down to near the 32-yard line. And close to first down yardage for the Washington Redskins, taking the opening kickoff early in the second half and marching down into scoring range. Back comes Riggins. And Otis Wansley, 39, checks in, a first-year man, a free agent out of Alcorn State.
Excuse me, and doing what they want to do, Jim. I was just going to say they're running the ball, they're throwing the short, high percentage passes, low-risk passes, and moving the ball very well at the moment.
Redskins penalized once for 10 yards. Lions 5 times for 54 yards. On 3rd and 1, Riggins, looks like the Lions might have jumped off sides. Flag on the play. Riggins stacked up shy of first down yardage, but it looked like the left side of the Lions might have moved a little bit, John. We'll have to see if they were drawn off. Obviously.
Number 64, Ron Saul, playing referee, agrees with you. We'll wait for the referee's call.
Ronnie, a former Spartan.
Defense, offside.
Let's take a look here. Theismann holding him for a fair amount of time, barking out signals to draw off. Yes, there it is right there.
Sandy Grossman, our director down in the truck, calling for those videotape replays. Here's Bob Frederick again.
Offside in the defense, number 78. First down.
That's Doug English, who jumped off. You know, Bob Frederick is getting almost as much airtime as you are.
Maybe we'll bring him up in the booth next week.
First down for the Redskins. Opening drive, opening possession, second half. 21-20. Detroit on top after falling behind 10-zip. Theismann to throw on first down. He's got C out in the right flat. Looks for a block. Inside the 20-yard line. Down to the 18. Goes Virgil C. 6 catches, 114 yards so far in this football game. He shows good hands.
He shows good hands, good mobility. He's only 5'7", and one of the problems the Redskins have had is at the wide receiver position. They don't really have that much strength. Art Monk was the man, but certainly Virgil C. coming on. And here, a pretty good play by number 35, Alvin Hall. Slips a blocker like a matador. Hangs on to make the tackle.
Hall has made some good one-on-one tackles. His problem seems to be he seems to be laying off an extra 5 or 7 yards and giving Monk and C an awful lot of room to run. 2nd and 2. Riggins back in there. Riggins gets the call. Riggins is stacked up. He picks up maybe 1 yard. It'll be 3rd and 1. And he is in the grasp of English and company. Big number 79 in there for the Detroit Lions as well. William Gay.
Not having much of a day. John Riggins only 11 yards and 7 carries. Still hoping for that 34 yards to overtake Leroy Kelly in 8th place on the all-time rushing list in the NFL.
Riggins in there with Wansley, number 39. Warren and Walker, 85 and 88 respectively, the double tight end for the Washington Redskins. Now, Washington can throw out of any formation. They've already done it once on 3rd and 1 early in the football game. Theismann to Riggins. Looks to get outside. First down and more. Inside the 15, out of bounds at the 13. Fantetti chased him out of bounds.
You know, Jim, I played with at Pittsburgh for a couple of years with a pretty good running back named Franco Harris. He had this same kind of feeling. You don't expect a big man like Riggins at 235 pounds to be able to duck inside and run away from you outside. Franco Harris had that same kind of knack.
Take another look. He runs away from Luther Gray, the 4-year man from Notre Dame, who had a shot at stopping him. Okay, not here, right there.
And you don't expect that from a big man. You expect as a defensive back you'll be able to come up, make the tackle, and prevent the first down. Riggins is deceiving that way.
Johnny, as a cornerback over there, isn't it your job to come up on the outside and force the play back in on the inside?
Exactly, Jim. As one of the Lions appears down in the play, we'll be right back from RFK Stadium in a moment.
White, number 52, the 10-year veteran from Ohio State, came over from Baltimore in a trade in 1980 to the Detroit Lions, flat on his back in the center of the field. The Lions up by 1. Right now, the Eagles have gone up by 14 over the Cardinals, a 14-yard scoring strike. Ron Jaworski to Harold Carmichael. They had an 85-yard touchdown pass last week against Dallas, but lost out. New England and Miami, just a 4-point difference as Miami crawls back into it. A 30-yard touchdown run by Tom Vigoretto. Don't forget, next week, the Los Angeles Rams, who will start Dan Pastorini at quarterback this afternoon, will take on Kenny Anderson, who's having a fine year, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Danny White, the Dallas Cowboys, will be at the Silverdome in Pontiac to take on the same Detroit Lions, and the New York Giants at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford to take on the Washington Redskins.
Jim, you talk about surprise teams in the NFL. Certainly San Francisco has to be one. Kansas City has to be one. But who would have expected Cincinnati? You know, who would have expected Oh, look at Kansas City here.
Who would have expected that?
Who would have expected that?
Kansas City at home.
At home, no less. But who would expect the Bengals to be out in front in that tough Central Division in the AFC? I mean, with Pittsburgh, Houston, and Cleveland last year coming so close to the Super Bowl. What a surprise.
Bengals are 6-3 going into their game today. The Steelers are 5-4. Cleveland 4-5, and the Oilers are 4-5 in that very tight black and blue AFC Central Division race.
Jim, it's finally, I think, the Cincinnati Bengals, all of those #1 draft choices that they've had for the last 4 or 5 years. As you watch Stan White get up, he appears to be okay. I think they're finally coming home. And certainly Kenny Anderson is playing well to lead the Cincinnati Bengals. But they are a team, I mean, Pittsburgh you can't count out, but Cincinnati is certainly a team to be reckoned with in the AFC Central.
I think Forrest Gregg has done a heck of a job there. I think he taught the young Bengal team to believe in themselves, much the same as Monty Clark is doing with this Detroit Lion team. You can't let adversity, and when you're winless on the road, it certainly would be easy to fall down, especially here in a game like this where you fall behind 10-0. But I think Monty Clark, Forrest Gregg, very similar coaches, building pride in a young football team. 1st and 10. Washington at the 12-yard line of the Detroit Lions. In motion comes Monk to the near side. Redskins down by 1. Detroit defense digging in. Theismann to put it up on first down underneath. And it's complete. It was deflected by one of the Detroit linebackers. I think the first man to hit it might have been Gary Cobb, number 53, but it fell right into the waiting arms of one of the Washington Redskins. Take another look.
Excuse me, Jim. Is this football or volleyball? Watch it here. Linebacker bumps it, right? I think it was Gary Cobb, number 53.
That's Cobb, and
when the Redskins grabs it.
53 to 53. Jeff Bostic, it comes down.
It's pinball.
Second-year man. Well,
I think he might have been looking for Monk. Watch him coming down here off. Oh, look at this wild move. He fakes inside, comes back outside. He's looking for the ball, but never got there.
We saw them, the Redskins, at Redskin Park yesterday playing volleyball before practice. I didn't think they had a set play. Theismann's got his man out of the backfield down to the 12-yard line.
To make it a little more exciting, Joe Washington juggled it a little bit, in keeping with the whole feel of this game. Watch Washington here.
Usually the tailback out of Oklahoma, they do have fumbleitis.
Washington had 4 fumbles this year, but this time he juggles a little bit, holds on to the ball after taking a big hit right there.
Good hit by number 57, the third-year man out of Wyoming, Ken Fantetti. Art Monk comes out wide to the left side, the top of your screen now. Thompson outside the slot, and C is in it right now, but Theismann will send somebody in motion on 3rd and 9. Big play time for the Detroit defense. Theismann, 5 receivers out over the middle, incomplete down at the 2-yard line, intended for Terry Metcalf. Metcalf could simply not hang on. The ball was thrown right on the money by Theismann. And if there's a rap against Terry Metcalf from his days with the St. Louis Cardinals, John, sometimes he's prone to hearing footsteps.
And certainly there, he made a good move to get back inside, but here comes Mosley in to use the ailing leg for another field goal here. He's 2 for 2. 33 is his long today. Hasn't really had to test it with a long field goal, but that was a pretty good throw. Might have been held by Metcalf.
Mark is 3 out of 3 between the 20 and the 29. This will be a 27-yarder, and he nailed it. So the Redskins go back in front by just 2 points. Mark Mosley, 3 field goals on the afternoon. The Detroit Lions, 3 touchdowns. Washington has a 2-point advantage. We'll be back with the Redskins kickoff after this. The Washington Redskins, John, did what many felt at halftime they had to do, and that's keep the ball away from that very potent Detroit offense. They used 6 minutes on the clock, a 12-play drive. They went 63 yards. They came out of it with a 3-point field goal by Mosley, who hit from 27 out, and the Redskins are back on top 23-21. Mosley approaches, a low, wobbly kick that is fielded. May have stepped out of bounds. Alvin Hall at the 35. Check it. At the 25, and down he goes. Looked like he might have stepped out of bounds. Bob Raba in there on the tackle, number 86 for the Washington Redskins. I say he did not. It'll be 1st and 10 Detroit from the 26.
Let's watch Darrell Grant on the kickoff.
He's number 77, 6'1", 230, a rookie out of Rice. Boom, boom,
boom. A second man tries to handle him. He's throwing people away. Get out of my way. I want that tackle. Try for a third. Still on his feet, fighting off people.
That's Mrs. Grant's little boy, Darrell. Inside handoff. Billy Sims knifes his way across the 30, up to the 32. Olkowitz in there on the tackle. Now, the Detroit Lions have not won on the road this year.
Jim, it's amazing. 4 losses. Look at those 4 losses by a mere total of 20 points. I mean, they could have easily beaten San Diego, Minnesota, and Denver, and Los Angeles. Ahead in most of those games, but fell in the 4th quarter. This team has to learn how to win. And right now, they're in that situation. They're trailing by 2 points, 3rd quarter, 8 minutes left.
That last play didn't look like much by Billy Sims, but he slithered his way for 5. It's 2nd down and 5. Scott comes in motion. Billy Sims gets the call. Bounces off his own offensive tackle, and down he goes in the grasp of Perry Brooks, 69, the 4-year veteran from Southern. That's exciting. Tampa Bay gets on the board.
Doug Williams must not be having much of a day. I mean, he and Kevin House have been doing very well. Not today, though. Green Bay over the Giants, 23-14, that in the 3rd quarter.
Dallas Hickman, Dexter Manley come in now. Lions are faced with 3rd and 4, and suddenly the Oakland Raiders are back on top over the Houston Oilers, who have led most of the way. Sims, 13 carries, 75 yards. Thompson wide to the left side. Scott flanked out wide to the right side. Hipple and company needs 4. Sims has got it and more. He's off to the races. It's a foot race now. Lavender, he cuts back against the grain, and he's tripped up from behind by number 45 for the Redskins, Jarris White. Otherwise, Sims had 6.
Billy Sims, what can you say about Billy Sims? Shows that good speed. I don't know how he pops out of this whole mess of players right here. Someone had a tackle around his leg, but Sims breaks out. Dusek. Here, watch Joe Lavender play it well here. You can't see Lavender. You can't see Lavender, but there.
All right, take a look at the block that springs him right there. And then the inside move by Billy Sims to the outside, and he's gone.
And he turns on the afterburner.
Billy Sims out for a rest. And then now it's Rick Kane. He gets the call inside the 10-yard line, and the Detroit running backs just keep coming at you. Dave Butt, 65, in there on the tackle. Billy Sims was 13 carries for 75 yards. Now he is 14 carries for 126 yards. The fourth time this year he's over 100 yards. And don't forget, it's only 8 games, and he hasn't been healthy for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Can you imagine his big toe were okay?
He was only about 90% last week against the Rams when he had 14 carries for 66 yards. Kane now 27 yards on 4 carries. Lions look at 2nd and 2. Kane again. First down inside the 5 of the Washington Redskins. Olkowitz in there on the tackle. The team that gets the football last.
Exactly right. I was just going to say that this game might reach 100 points. Detroit showing a lot of maturity, though. Coming back, being down, coming back. Washington doing the same thing with Theismann.
Billy Sims checks in. Kane checks out. 1st and goal, Lions from the 4-yard line of the Washington Redskins. Washington's defense has been
maligned
on leave of absence. Backs are split. Quick handoff, Dexter Bussey trapped behind it, fumbles the football. Lions, I believe, got it back. Washington got it back. Well,
the Moles are still looking for the ball, fighting for it. The referees have already signaled, I believe. Let's wait, keep an eye on it. They have the ball. They have a ball. I assume it's the ball. Yes.
Bob Brown, referee's getting a lot of help down there. Let's see who got up off the bottom of the pile. Number 29, Mark Murphy, who already has an interception. Take a look again and see as Olkowitz strips the ball loose. Right there. Pops loose. And Murphy.
There it is. Lyon had a shot at it, but he didn't come up with it. Mark Murphy finally finds it at the bottom of the pile.
What is it they say, John, that the breaks will even up themselves? The Lions had one fumble in the end zone that went for a touchback. Now the Redskins get the equalizer as far as the breaks are concerned.
It's slightly larger than 721.
1st and 10 Redskins at the 3 after that fumble recovery. John Riggin, short yardage situation. The good hands back is in there. Breaks it to the outside, gets a block to the 5, to the 6, to the 7, up near the 9-yard line. Alvin Hall hanging on for dear life, hoping to get some help. Rick Walker, the man that threw the block that allowed Riggins to turn the corner around that right side. Riggins' longest gain today.
Well, the Redskins have had success late in the game, coming with their ball control offense, giving it to John Riggins, who is certainly a workhorse, a big back, will get you those tough yards and not fumble the ball.
Well, we've had 3 fumbles, 2 interceptions so far in this football game. Lions made some costly mistakes early, fell behind 10-0, took a 21-10 lead, and now we're just seesawing back and forth. Slot to the left side. Monk will undoubtedly. Now this is Walker in motion to the near side. Theismann looks at 2nd and 4. Nothing doing. Riggins stacked up. He lost 2 yards.
Well, the problem here, Jim, is that as a defensive player, you want to dare that quarterback to do something he might not want to do. He's got one back in the backfield with 2 tight ends, and chances are he's going to give the ball to Riggins. He did that time. The Detroit defense was ready, threw him for a loss.
Want to come over to my house and watch Sports Saturday next Saturday? Next week, we'll bring you more great championship boxing as knockout artist Aaron Pryor defends his WBA junior welterweight title against a determined Duan Johnson. We invite you to be ringside for all of the action next week. That's 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central and Pacific on CBS. Both fighters are undefeated.
And Aaron Pryor, 20 knockouts.
Mark May in for Jacoby at the tackle position. 3rd and 5. Theismann looks for Monk. He's in trouble in his own end zone. A little football intercepted by the Lions and then fumbled. Picked up again by the Lions. They say it's an incompleted pass. We have had everything, John Dockery, in this football game.
What next? We have to see this again. Looked like Allen fumbled the ball, dropped it. Alvin Hall came up with it. Theismann was chased. Mark May just came in. This is a wild and woolly contest. There's Doug English. Beats his man early. A lot of pressure from everywhere. Theismann looking for someone. Throws the ball intended for his tight end. I believe Allen has it. He's juggling it. Drops it. Alvin Hall picks it up. Thinks he has a fumble. He doesn't.
That's a great call. Great call by the officials. Allen never clearly had possession. That's kind of surprising because he leads the Detroit Lions in interceptions with 6.
And he told me he was going to get 2 today. He had a chance.
Look out. Connell gets it away, roughing the kicker. The Redskins get another big break. Fielded it at the 45 to midfield. Out of bounds at the 48 goes number 83 for the Detroit Lions. The fellow that's had trouble, Robbie Martin, chased out of bounds, but Connell decked in the end zone, and the Redskins get a very important first down.
You can only make so many mistakes and win a football game. And Detroit has certainly made their share. A couple of costly turnovers earlier in the game, a fumble by Bussey, and now this. Chance for great field position. They go after the block. They hit the Washington kicker, Connell. He goes down with a good acting job. Of course, all kickers go to acting school now.
Personal foul on the defense, running into the kicker, number 86. First down.
Redskins retain the ball when the Detroit Lions could have had it on their side of midfield.
The rookie out of San Jose State made a rookie mistake, Mark Nichols. And it cost the Lions, who would have had good field position.
Did you say Mark Nichols? Yep. He and Robbie Martin, costly mistakes all day today for the Lions.
From their own 13, Riggins back in. Monk in motion to the top of the screen. Theismann to put it up on first down. He's got C at the 15. And a great one-on-one tackle again by Alvin Hall, who does some kind of job hanging on. His problem is he's always arriving late.
Not only that, you're seeing a situation where Alvin Hall has been beaten a number of times on that quick stop pattern, giving up a little bit of yards. But before long, as you look at Minnesota in the fourth quarter, it's going to be stop and go on Alvin Hall. They're setting him up for the deep play. Watch it, Alvin.
38-yard touchdown pass, Jaworski to Harold Carmichael. The second time that duo is hooked up today. Eagles go up by 3 touchdowns against the St. Louis Cardinals. And Oakland clinging to a 3-point lead. Washington is in. Riggins is out. Slot to the right side. Monk in motion to the top of your screen. 2nd and 8 from the 15 of Washington. Joe Washington kicked down. Almost lost the football. James Harrell, the free agent out of Florida in his 3rd year, in there on the stop.
Look at Miami taking the lead 20-17 over New England, and that's Bill Gay, number 79, who got his chance to play because Joe Ehrman was hurt earlier in the year. Curly Culp came in, he got hurt. Steve Furness is there, but it's really William Gay, number 79, the fourth-year man of USC, doing a job for the Lions on defense.
Rick Walker checks out. Number 88 at tight end. Terry Metcalf, 26, checks in for the Washington Redskins. 2:14 left to go in a very exciting 3rd quarter. And we're 23-21. The Redskins over the Detroit Lions, who would do very well to double-team Virgil C., number 80. 7 catches, 121 yards in the afternoon. Theismann needs 9. Flag on the play. He's got Metcalf out of the backfield. They've got the first down. But Bob Frederick, the referee, threw it in the vicinity of the Washington backfield. Holding against the Redskins. This play will come back. You know, interesting, John. Joe Theismann, 15 of 25 on the afternoon. Of the 15 passes he's completed, 7 of them have been to number 80, Virgil C.
Virgil C. is coming on as one of their wide receivers. They need Virgil C. Rich Castor got hurt. He couldn't help him when they thought he would. Ricky Thompson, not a bad ball player, 6th-year out of Baylor, but...
Offensive holding, number 64, 3rd down.
That's Ron Saul, the 12-year veteran from Michigan State.
Theismann has Monk doing a deep in pattern. He has Metcalf in front. He reads after the ball is snapped and completes it right here to Metcalf, number 26. But Ron Saul holding nullifies the play.
Maybe we can take another look at that after this play. Saul holding Doug English. 16-10. Chris Barr, 43-yard field goal. Raiders 16, Houston 10. Theismann looks at 3rd and 16 in his end zone. Pumps. Got Virgil C. at the 27. Up to the 30. First down, Washington and more.
Credit Joe Theismann on that completion. Read the receiver, threw it to the right receiver. C was covered outside. Good read. And you might note that the Detroit defensive backfield has changed dramatically. That's Alvin Hall playing the left corner. Smith is out except coming in on the nickel defense. And you see Virgil C. 8 receptions, 136 yards. Good catch, Wilson.
Virgil's having quite a career here this afternoon.
Exactly.
24-yard first down pass, Theismann to Virgil C. Up to the 31-yard line now of Washington. The Redskins clinging to a 2-point lead. Walker in motion to the top of your screen. Handoff, Joe Washington looks for a cutback block. Look out. Washington turns the corner. Up across the 40, out of bounds at the 42. Luther Bradley over there bumped him out of bounds along with Jeff Delaney.
You get the defense thinking pass, what happens? You give the ball to Joe Washington, he gets a good gain for you. You talk about Virgil C. He only had 4 passes for 109 yards coming in. He is having a season here today.
Take another look at that play and watch Washington turn the corner and look at the offensive line and what a job they do.
Good job all the way across. Of course, Washington has the speed to get outside before he's finally taken out of bounds by Jimmy Allen, number 40.
See him change the football from his right hand to his left as he made the cut. Riggins is back in. Monk to the top of the screen from the 42. First and 10. Draw play. Riggins looks for some blocking. Still managed to pick up 2 yards. He did that all on his own. Gary Cobb, 53, the third-year veteran from USC, a free agent in there in the tackle. 2nd down and 7. Redskins.
Gives you an idea of how strong John Riggins really is. Watch it here. Cobb hits him, hangs on. Riggins still bowls for a couple more yards at 235 pounds. Watch that. See, stays on his feet, gets an extra 3.5 yards.
33 seconds left in quarter number 3. The Redskins 23, the Lions 21. A dandy here at sold-out RFK Stadium. 2nd down and 7. Theismann, wide receivers left and right. Riggins is the setback. He'll stay in. Now swing out, screen pass. They go to the tight end. Don Warren, he's got a convoy down the right side. Chased out of bounds. First down, Redskins in Detroit Lion territory. Jeff Bostic through the key block. Now let's have an update on the NFL. We'll go to New York and our comrade Brent Musburger around the NFL today.
Jim, here's a receiver who doesn't need a convoy. Watch big Harold Carmichael. From the shotgun, it's Ron Jaworski. He's already hit Carmichael for a 14-yard score, and Carmichael says, get off my back. 31-10. Let's go back to Jim now on RFK.
21 points. Thank you, Brent. 13 left to go in quarter number 3. 13 seconds. Theismann put it up on 1st and 10. Goes up top to Monk against Luther Bradley. Intercepted, and the Lions have it back inside their own 5-yard line. Luther Bradley, his first interception on the year, a #1 draft pick from 1978, just went up and out-jumped Mr. Monk.
He certainly did, and in a way it's nice to see Luther Bradley do that. Great things were expected when they drafted him #1, as you would think, of a #1 draft choice. Here he has good position on Monk. Theismann, the fake was kind of worthless, throws it wobbly and high. Watch the ball. Looks like a dead duck coming down. Bradley with good position, goes up like a basketball player, comes down with the interception, and we'll be right back.
Take a look at the isolation now on Mr. Monk as he goes by the first man and then Bradley. And the pass hung up there reminiscent of maybe Billy Kilmer.
Exactly, and Bradley played it perfectly, got in position, went up, came down with the rebound and the interception.
First one of the year for the former Notre Dame Fighting Irishman.
6'2", 195, has good jumping ability, showed it right there on that play.
Time for the Washington Redskins defense to assert themselves, and also the Detroit Lion offense. Detroit down by 2, tough field position. Billy Sims to the 5, look out to the 10, first down and more, up to the 18-yard line as he explodes around that right side. Mark Murphy, another ankle tackle on Billy Sims.
Billy Sims, the best thing to happen to the Motor City since the wheel. Watch this. He's got a convoy of blockers, cuts it upfield, gets some good blocking, especially number 61, Homer Elias, gets the first down and takes him out of that hole, Jim.
John, let's not go away, all right? We've got 15 minutes left in regulation. We have seen it all. The Redskins up by 2, the Lions in possession when we come right back. Jim Kelly, John Dockery back with you. 15 minutes left in regulation at a sold-out RFK Stadium. You take a look at Charlie Weaver, number 58, of course familiar to all the Detroit Lion fans after 11 great seasons up there in Motor City. Lions operate 1st and 10 from their own 18 after that big scamper by Billy Sims. Hipple to throw it on 1st down. He gets greedy, goes up top, got a man open, incomplete, flag on the play, 1st down Lions. Intended for Mark Nichols, the rookie out of San Jose. And back there to defend, Lamar Parrish has been beaten all afternoon.
Mark Nichols will be a great receiver in the NFL. Terrific speed, 4.4 speed, a game break as you listen to the referee.
Number 24, first down.
Give the defensive back a break. The position's hard enough to play. Questionable call. Probably caught his leg when he went up for the ball, Lamar Parrish. Lamar looks a little like he may be hurting. He's not showing the speed that he once had, though he still claims he can run a 4.5, 5.40. I'm not so sure.
He takes himself out. Jarris White, 45, the 8-year veteran from Hawaii, checks back in. Lions have it at the 39 of Washington. Hipple on a counter play. Look out. First down and more. Dexter Bussey from Texas Arlington all the way down to about the 17-yard line of the Redskins, and on 2 plays, the Detroit Lions have gone almost 80 yards. Neil Okowitz, Charlie Weaver chased him out of bounds. Take another look.
Misdirection. Watch what Billy Sims does. He goes one way, the defense reacts, Bussey comes back the other way. Good blocking, bursted up the middle, and don't be surprised, before Billy Sims arrived, Dexter Bussey was the man who led Detroit for a couple of seasons. Good play right there.
Johnny, the ball is all the way down on the 16-yard line on the Redskins. 3 plays ago, it was on the 5-yard line of the Detroit Lions.
And they're doing it with the pass and the run.
They've got the Redskins back on their heels right now. Billy Sims gets away from one man and slithers inside the 15. Still manages to pick up 2 before Matt Mendenhall out of BYU brings him down. Tough to get Sims around the ankles.
Well, you certainly wouldn't accuse the Redskins of being one of them. As you look at Monty, what are you worried about? You're going to take the ball in any moment now and take the lead back, but I don't know how much more he can take of this seesaw battle.
A very interesting statistic here in the 3rd quarter. The Washington Redskins had the ball for 11 minutes and 16 seconds. The Lions only for 3:44, and all the Skins could show for it is a field goal. True, it did put them in the lead by 2 points. But when you've got the ball, almost a 4-to-1 ratio, you've got to score a little bit more than that. 2nd down and 7. Hipple, lateral pass, goodbye, touchdown Lions. Billy Sims has done it all today. Nobody touched him. His 8th rushing touchdown on the ground. He carries it in from 17 yards out. You take another look.
And they took this out of the college playbook. It's an option. He fakes, not much of one. Brings it down the line. They react to him, gives it to Sims. Touchdown. Easy. Look at this. He's putting down his flaps to slow him down. Watch this block by Big David Hill. Playing good ball right now. Comes out, brush block, gets a block on Tony Peters, who was the only man that probably could have made the tackle on Billy Sims. He doesn't. Sims takes it in. Detroit takes the lead.
What a drive by the Detroit Lions. Eddie Murray trying to increase the lead. He does. The Lions, a 4-play drive for all intensive purposes. We've got 13:24 left to go in regulation. The Lions are up on top, 28-23. Left to go in this football game. The Lions on top, 28-23, a 5-point lead. After that interception by Luther Bradley, they go 96 yards in 4 plays in just a minute and a half. Murray kicks off. Nelms back deep. He squibbles this one, trying to keep it away from Nelms. Picked up by Okowitz. Looks for somebody to get rid of the ball to. And the Redskins have pretty good field position, despite the now we got tempers flaring out there. Again, they wanted to keep the ball away from Mike Nelms, kick returner extraordinaire. Next week on the CBS NFL schedule, Los Angeles at Cincinnati, Dallas at Detroit, Washington at the New York Giants. And of course, it all starts off with Brent, Phyllis, Irv, and Jimmy the Greek on the NFL Today. Washington down by 5, 13-16 left to go. Monk to the near side. C to the top of your screen. The running back, Joe Washington. Theismann will not waste time. Pump fake. Goes down to C. Intercepted by the Lions. Fumbled by the Lions. And Detroit operates inside the 25 of Washington. Jimmy Allen, his 7th interception. The 8-year veteran from UCLA. You can't play cornerback any better than that.
Jimmy Allen reading Theismann all the way. One of the problems that pump faking and going is that look at that. Here, watch Theismann. He tries to look him off, but the fake is worthless. Jimmy Allen looking that direction, coming over to help. Reacts on the ball very well, comes up with the interception, dribbles it a little bit. Detroit leads 28-23, and we'll be back at RFK Stadium in 1 moment.
You look at a concerned Joe Gibbs right now on the Washington Redskins sideline. Another look at that last play. Theismann forced the ball again. Jimmy Allen played it absolutely perfectly. And let's see if he steps out of bounds right there. All the way back at the 44-yard line before he double-dribbled the ball, John Dockery.
He's got to learn how to dribble a little better and go to the hoop. I'm worried about him. Turnovers. Detroit 5, Washington 2. Detroit's lucky to be in this game, turning the ball over 5 times. But they are.
They're in front by 5, 28-23, and Eric Hipple won't waste any time. Look at the time he's got to throw. Open man, he turns him around. No flag on the play, and the Redskins might have gotten a break. Leonard Thompson was the man for whom the pass was intended. Back to defend Mark Murphy, who's recovered 1 fumble, picked off 1 pass. Seemed to be a little bumping down there, former defensive back John Dockery.
Never. Defensive backs never touch those overpaid, egotistical wide receivers.
of which you were one.
Houston, look at this Houston. Campbell goes over 1,000 yards as Houston goes back on top by 1 point.
You were a wide receiver. You were not egotistical.
But most of my years as a defensive back, though, make me partial to defensive back.
From the 44, Billy Sims against the grain, knife down. Key play for the Redskin defense. If he would have broken that one against the grain, this game might have been over, because there was nobody between himself and Perry Brooks, the 4-year man out of Southern. Eagles still on top by 3 touchdowns there in the 4th quarter. Dallas, of course, tied with Philadelphia, 7-2 atop the NFC East. The Cowboys play tomorrow night. They'll host the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo 6-3, and they're watching with interest the Miami-New England score. The Dolphins 6-2-1 going in. Thompson to the left side of your screen. Freddie Scott out wide to the right side. Big play for both sides. 3rd and 8 from the 42. Swing pass to Billy Sims. Looks for blockers. Got it. First down, Detroit, inside the 30-yard line of the Redskins. Well, when you need a money play, you go to your money back. Billy Sims, who hung on with that little swing pass from Hipple. And Hipple now is 11 out of 16. 2 touchdowns, 1. Go ahead, John.
You can see Hipple growing in confidence. This is actually a lateral, so if Billy Sims does not make the catch, could have been a dangerous play with Washington recovering. But it's all academic, because Sims does make the catch one-handed with his left hand, nonchalantly, turns upfield, does a little stutter step, cuts back inside, gets some extra yards in the first down.
From the 27-yard line, I formation. They fake it to Billy Sims. Hipple looks for the touchdown in the end zone. Lavender back there, fouled away, incomplete. Great play by Joe Lavender. Mark Nichols in the vicinity along with Freddie Scott.
It's hard to tell who he was throwing to here. Yes, he was going to Nichols outside. Nichols at 6'2". Lavender recovers right here and goes up. Lavender 6'4", and it became a question of who was going to go up higher and get the ball there. Lavender makes a good play to knock it away.
Dallas Hickman, Dexter Manley, 78 and 72 check in to put some pressure on Eric Hipple. The line of scrimmage, the 27-yard line of the Washington Redskins. Their defense has been reeling most of the second half. Lions have been threatening and have taken a 5-point lead, 28-23. Hipple on 2nd and 10. Sends everybody out, goes in the end zone. This one is picked off by the Washington Redskins by Tony Peters, the 7-year man out of Oklahoma, his first interception on the year. Mike Nelms also back there as they had double coverage, and that turnover could be very costly to the Lions. They were driving down in apparent field goal range at the very least. Hipple, like Theismann before him, got a little greedy, and the INT came up. Redskins ball when we come right back. You look as if you're the free safety now for the Washington Redskins. Eric Hipple looking all the way at his primary receiver. And John, if there's a rap against young Hipple, that has been his problem, that he looks primarily to the man who's going to throw to. He doesn't have the ability yet. And it's not meant as a heavy criticism of the young quarterback, only in his 2nd year, but he does not look off his primary receiver to the 2nd or the swingman.
Good point. That's his 3rd interception of the day. Of course, Theismann's already thrown 2. He did the same thing a few moments ago when Luther Bradley intercepted a pass.
That's Metcalf in motion. Redskins work 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Out of the backfield, Joe Washington gets away from the man, gets the block on the counter to the 30, up near the 33-yard line. 1st and 10, Washington. James Harrell in there to stop the 3rd-year man from Florida.
Theismann goes right to the pass here, but it's a safe pass. Washington out of the back with excellent receiver. Here he makes some yardage on his own. Doesn't have a tearaway jersey, but pulls away anyhow. Turns it upfield for the first down.
From the 33 of Washington, the Lions clinging to a 28-23 lead. 10:48 left to go in this football game. Monk in motion to the near side. Washington is the setback. Theismann on the delay to Washington. Looks for some running room. Somehow manages to do it on his own and get up near the 40-yard line. It didn't look like much, John Dockery, but it picked up 7 yards. Quite a show by the 2 former Oklahoma Sooners. Joe Washington for the Redskins, and Billy Sims has really done it all. 17 carries, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Detroit Lion running back, former Rookie of the Year. As you look at some scores around the NFL today, the Bucs finally got a touchdown, but they're still way down to Minnesota. 2nd, Joe Washington. First down, look out. Midfield and more. Inside, down to about the 46-yard line. Don Warren, 85, the tight end over on the left side. A key block to swing him around that left side.
And now Washington. You can feel the momentum changing back and forth. Joe Washington doing it all. Good blocking here. As you mentioned, tight end doing a good job. Washington picks up the first down.
Patriots back on front over Miami. As you saw, 24-20. They got a 1-yard run, New England did, from Tony Collins. Tampa Bay scored on a 1-yard pass play. Doug Williams to Jimmy Giles. And the Giants are back in it against Green Bay. They were behind 20-0. It's 23-20. Packers over the Giants. Joe Washington, 17 carries, 86 yards out. John Riggins is in. Terry Metcalf looks for some running room, dances his way down to the 40, down to the 35 of the Detroit Lions. Goes the former St. Louis Cardinal in a football game that this 113th straight sellout crowd, John, certainly could not be disappointed in.
You can't be disappointed. And Washington has those weapons in their backs. When you look at Metcalf and Washington out of the backfield, you know they're dynamic, explosive, because after they catch the ball, they have fantastic ability to run with it. Here he cuts back, gets some good blocks. There, cuts back outside again. William Gay is chasing him. Can't corral him. Metcalf gets a good game.
The Washington Redskins came in with a record of 3-6. They lost their first 5 games under new coach Joe Gibbs. As John told you at the top of the telecast, it's been a kind of a learning process for both the coach and some of his younger players. They've come back strong to win 3 of their last 4 games. The Detroit Lions, with a record of 4-5, have won all 4 games at home at the Silverdome and lost all 5 games on the road to the Rams, the Chargers, the Vikings, the Bucks, and Denver. Later tonight here on CBS, all the programming starts with 60 Minutes, and then it's on to Archie Bunker's Place, followed by One Day at a Time. Stay tuned after that for Alice, then the Jeffersons, Bradford John, M.D. All tonight on CBS. Don't go away. 8:51 left in the football game. Metcalf in motion to the near side. Joe Washington again. And another Redskin first down. Joe Jacoby, the rookie out of Louisville, 66, threw some kind of a block and cut down Jimmy Allen and company. Timeout for the injury. Look at that block.
Defense seems to be taking a little bit of a vacation in Washington. It's turned on as we have a Lion down on the field. But it's not surprising, Joe Washington. In the last 4 NFL seasons, he's had over 5,000 combined yards. So he's a man that can get yardage for you. Detroit leads Washington 28-23, and we'll be right back.
You look at the Lions, Jimmy Allen, number 40, the 8-year veteran out of UCLA who came to the Lions in a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers back in 1978. Jimmy Allen last week, in losing to the Los Angeles Rams, had 2 interceptions. He had 6 on the year. He had 1 more here this afternoon. It was the 5th time last year that Jimmy Allen, during his 8-year NFL career, has intercepted 2 passes in 1 game. Hey, this has really been a defensive struggle, hasn't it?
Let's go for 1,000. Jimmy Allen, it'd be a shame if Jimmy Allen, he's having a wonderful season, and I talked to him the other day, and he told me he's finally settled in at free safety. They had him playing the corner when he first got here to Detroit. At Pittsburgh, when we were together there, he was definitely all cornerback. He came here, he played corner, he played strong safety, played free safety. This is his 2nd year at free safety. He's having a terrific year. 7 interceptions to lead their defensive backfield. It'd be a shame to see him get hurt.
You saw that Philadelphia Eagles score against the St. Louis Cardinals. Eagles added a touchdown, a 2-yard run by Billy Camfield, 38-10, as the Eagles now will increase their record to 8-2 and be rooting undoubtedly for the Buffalo Bills, a team that they have already beaten, as Buffalo takes Joe Ferguson and company in the Texas Stadium. You take a look at what the Detroit Lions have done in the Silverdome. Undefeated at home. And then, of course, we have told you they lost on the road to the Rams, Chargers, Vikings, Buccaneers, and Denver Broncos. Next week here on CBS, it'll be Dallas at Detroit. They'll have their hands full, won't they?
They'll be doing something if they can continue that streak at home and make it 5 in a row. Dallas, of course, has to get by Buffalo before that big game next week at the Silverdome. It looks like Jimmy Allen might have gotten knocked out on that play. He's still down on the ground. We'll try to keep you posted on exactly what is happening with Jimmy. But it appears as though they're asking him some questions, and
if he gets up and thinks he's on the artificial surface at the Silverdome, they'll keep him out for a couple of plays, right?
it's a very strange feeling. I mean, I've been knocked out 5 or 6 times during my football career, and it's weird. You don't remember anything. Look at the New York Giants, 24-23 coming back over Green Bay.
They were down 20-0 in that game. Giants coming in had had a record of 5-4, and of course they'll play Washington. Green Bay was 3-6.
Jimmy Allen, a big smile. Must be feeling a little bit better. I think he might have some cobwebs. Might take a while. I don't know if we'll see him back. And of course, Ray Oldham was hurt earlier. He's not back in the game, so the Lions get very, very thin in their secondary. Look for Theismann to exploit that a little bit.
There you see Eddie Murray and Tom Spladany. You wonder what the kickers talk about during the course of all of this.
Nothing.
Ray Oldham is back in, number 23. He has replaced the injured Jimmy Allen. Oldham himself out for most of the third quarter. 8:26 and counting in the football game. Lions 28, Redskins 23 from the 24 of Detroit. Theismann gives the ball to Joe Washington. He explodes around the right side. Guys, look out! He hurdles his way to the 20-yard line. He went up and over one tackler before Alvin Hall got him on the rebound.
He's sacrificing his body. Joe Washington here looks like one of the flying Wollenders. Watch him here. Off the trampoline. Bingo, up and over. Alvin Hall turns him upside down.
I'm
over
impressed
100
with
yards.
Alvin Hall.
I am also.
He has some problems on pass coverage, but he is one of the great one-on-one tacklers you're going to see. Number 88 checks in, Rick Walker, carrying a play from Joe Gibbs, who calls all of the plays except when the Redskins get to their 2-minute drill. Joe Washington, 19 carries, 103 yards from the 20 of the Lions. Slot to the left side. Washington the setback. He gets the call. He's inside the 20. He's down to the 15 and close to first down yardage. Jeff Bostic, the center, opening up the hole along with Russ Grimm over there on the left side. Bostic in his second year from Clemson. Had to be happy that his Tigers prevailed yesterday against North Carolina. Now number 39, Otis Wansley checks in. 5'10", 205, a free agent from Alcorn State, along with John Riggins. As you look at a very concerned Monty Clark over across the way on the Lions bench. Joe Washington, 20 carries, almost 110 yards this afternoon. Former Oklahoma Sooner putting on some kind of a show. There's the comparative stats with his former schoolmate, Billy Sims.
And, Jim, that's against the defense. It's number 2 in the NFC against the rush of Allen, just 103 yards. As Riggins gets some more yardage.
Riggins pulls his way down to the 11. First down, Washington. Gary Cobb in there on the tackle. Let's check the stats, if we could, on John Riggins, who came in needing just 34 yards to surpass Leroy Kelly and move into 8th place on the all-time NFL rushing list. Riggins, 12 carries, 28 yards, so he needs 6 more, your former teammate.
We'll keep an eye on him. But you have to wonder where the defense for the Detroit Lions is gone. I mean, they're an outstanding defense, 9th overall. As I said, 2nd against the rush, 12th versus the pass. Their problems have been against the pass, but today, Washington is running on them. From
the 11-yard line, Joe Washington inside the 10 to the 5. Runs to the goal line. Joe Washington, touchdown. Unbelievable. He carried for Detroit Lions the final 4 yards. Joe Jacoby was helping with the blocking over there on the left side. But I'll tell you, he showed Billy Sims, like they say in the playground, in your face.
That's right. He's taking a page from Billy's book, of course, at Oklahoma. They were the 2 big stars. And Washington takes it in to put the Redskins back on top. And watch him here. Shows good blocking from his line. Turns it upfield. And at the end of it almost looks like a rugby scrum with everyone pushing and pulling. Washington finally gets in the end zone.
Very important extra point coming up here for Mark Mosley out of the hold of Joe Theismann. It increases the Redskin advantage to 30-28. Let's take another look. Ground level. And just watch Joe Washington's legs never, ever stop turning when he gets inside the 5-yard line here. Still moving, and he is in for the score. The Redskins are back on top by 2. We'll have the Washington kickoff after this. This afternoon, and the rest of those games all on CBS. Mark Mosley to tee it up. Alvin Hall 35, Robbie Martin 83 deep. Don't go away. This has been your typical defensive football game. 6:39 left to go in regulation. Overtime, not beyond the realm of speculation here. Everything else has happened. A low, wobbly kick fielded by Alvin Hall. He's to the 25. He's to the 30. The 35. Out of bounds at the 40. As they continue to go up and down the field. Jarris White, 45, wrestled him out of bounds. Mark Mosley obviously not only having problems with some field goals, definitely having problems in the kickoff area.
A short kickoff, looked like a knuckleball, ball fielded it well, and gives the Detroit Lions great field position at their 42-yard line. And Alvin Hall is a graduate of that. Look at the, is a graduate of the Gong Show. As you look at the quarterback comparison statistics with Theismann and Eric Hipple.
Each throwing for 1 touchdown, but each having some problems with the other team's secondary. Dexter Bussey, 24. Billy Sims, Mr. Money, in there for the Detroit Lions. They operate 1st and 10 from their own 42. They trail by 2. Who else? Billy Sims, but this time the Redskins defense is there to chop him down. Maybe a pickup of 1, 2nd down and 9. Matt Mendenhall, Charlie Weaver, former Detroit Lion, in there in the tackle. He played 10 years with the Lions, a free agent out of USC. You take another look.
It's ironic that number 58, Charlie Weaver, who spent so many good years in Detroit, is in on this tackle.
Redskins changing personnel on defense now, anticipating pass, will probably go to the nickel. Dallas Hickman, Dexter Manley are in there to put some more pressure on Eric Hipple. Jarris White, number 45, in there at the nickel back. The Eagles will increase their record to 8-2 and root for the Buffalo Bills tomorrow night. Sims, 19 carries, 158 yards. 2nd down. Draw play, nothing doing. Touchdown at the line of scrimmage by Perry Brooks. Suddenly, the Redskins defense, John Dockery, which has been nowhere to be found for the first 45 minutes of this football game, is asserting themselves.
Exactly. And Perry Brooks, number 69, plays off the block well and trips up the runner. Perry Brooks, the 4th man out of Southern.
They seesaw back and forth up at Foxborough, the Dolphins, who came into this football game with a record of 6-2-1, trying to hang on to first place in the AFC East. You see the down in the yardage, line of scrimmage, the 40 of the Lions. Slot to the left side. Redskins showing blitz. They're coming. Eric Hipple underneath. Incomplete. He simply overfired his man coming out of the backfield. Intended for Horace King. And, John, that's what happened last week against the Los Angeles Rams. He was throwing high. He was throwing behind his receivers. And that led them to their 5th consecutive loss on the road.
In fairness to Hipple, though, last week he did have some problems trying to catch up. Some balls were dropped on him, but that time he just missed Horace King in a critical situation.
Mike Nelms, Mr. Excitement, back deep for the Washington Redskins. Tom Skladany, former Ohio State Buckeye, one of the premier punters around the National Football League. When you think of punters, you think of Skladany, you think of Ray Guy.
Skladany is 2 for 2 off the punt on throwing the ball, but this time he does kick away.
Nelms will field at the 20, tries to get outside, gets it up to the 27. Ken Fantetti in there on the tackle, and the Redskins clinging to a 2-point lead. 4:53 left to go in regulation. And you've got to think, John, if you're Joe Gibbs and Joe Theismann, you've got to get down and get a couple of more points. A 2-point lead, not good enough. Not with a kicker like Eddie Murray, not with an offense like Billy Sims has put on this afternoon. You've got to add and pad that 2-point advantage right now.
Exactly right. You can't sit on the lead. You have to get some first downs, hopefully get in position to get another score. There's almost 5 minutes left in this game. You're ahead by 2 points.
Hey, have we seen any offense in the second half? That was the first punt by either team in the second stanza. Line of scrimmage, the 27. Redskins keep it on the ground. To the loose football. The Lions have got it back inside the 30. 1st and 10. Detroit at the 29 of the Redskins. Ken Fantetti, who was in there on the punt, just scooped up the football, and the Lions get it back. Take another look.
Joe Washington, going into the game, had 4 fumbles. Here, a costly fumble. And Ken Fantetti, number 57, the middle linebacker, who comes up with the play. Sets up the Lions right here. Watch it. Washington running through the ball. Number 78, Doug English. Big arms around him. Pulls his arms away from the ball. Lions come up with him. What a big play by Doug English.
Number 24, Dexter Bussey. Number 20, Billy Sims in there for the Detroit Lions. Out wide to the right side, Leonard Thompson. To the left side is Freddie Scott. They give it on the ground to Billy Sims, pulled down from behind. I believe it was Brad Dusick and Perry Brooks who helped out in there.
You wonder if both running backs, Washington fumbling that time, getting a little tired, carrying the brunt of the offense for Washington here in the 4th quarter. Billy Sims not coming off the ball that quickly on that play. Are they getting tired? And here's Murray warming up that right leg, and he is, as you said, an excellent kicker. 14 field goals and 20 attempts so far this season.
You see his longest was 50 yards. He's 2 out of 3 from outside. They look to go wide. Billy Sims cut down again. A great one-on-one play by Monty Coleman, the third-year man out of Central Arkansas. He's not that fast, but he turned it inside, got Sims around the ankle, down he went. So it'll bring up 3rd and 9. If you take a look, the Packers have gone back out in front over the New York Giants. Giants trailed in that football game 20-0. 3rd and 9, John. You're the Washington Redskins defense. You've got a young Detroit Lion quarterback in there in just his 4th game. Do you blitz him here? Do you come with a safety blitz, a linebacker, or do you keep everybody home?
You come with some pressure because pressure is excellent against the run as it is against the pass. You rely on your veteran cornerbacks.
Hipple got room to run. Shot down. Loose football. The Redskins say they've got it, but I believe he was down. Dave Butts. Let's check Bob Frederick, the referee. They are saying he was down in the grasp, and they retain possession of the football.
Watch number 65, Dave Butts. Linebacker starts to come. Number 55 has changed his mind. Hipple steps up, but here Butts gets his hand around, knocks the ball away. Looks like Hipple recovered his own fumble.
First sack by the Washington Redskins. Now they will spot it at the 40.5-yard line. Murray is 2 out of 3 from this distance. Snap, spot, kick.
It's long enough.
He's got it. That would have been good from 55. And the Lions go back on top, 31-30.
The lead has changed times about 8 times already. Murray, look at that. Oh, is he happy? Because this is where the Lions have had their problems. They've lost late against San Diego, against Minnesota, unable to keep the lead. Teams coming back and beating them late. Here, they go on top by 1 point. Now it's up to their defense to hold Washington.
Costly fumble by Joe Washington. And the Lions capitalized on it. 2 minutes, 58 seconds left to go in this football game. The Redskins, they're down by a point. The Lions looking to win their first on the road this year. They're looking to win their first in 8 games here at RFK Stadium. They're not too happy, are they? And now, of course, the Lions have got to defend against number 21, Mike Nelms.
Washington Redskins never lost to Detroit at home. Well, they're down by 1 point now. There's 2 minutes and 58 seconds left. They're going to have the ball. Nelms deep, certainly a threat. Theismann hoping he'll get a good run back, a good field position. Theismann has the weapons to score. Joe Washington, Metcalf, Monk. Theismann, an excellent quarterback.
Hey, you know the last time Detroit won a game against the Washington franchise? 1935, when the Redskins played in Boston. They were then called the Boston Spartans. Lions kick it away. Eddie Murray, high, wobbly kick, out of bounds. They'll do it again. Peter Cronin, the man who fielded the ball, out of bounds. You don't think Eddie Murray wants to keep the ball away from Mike Nelms, do you?
I think that's what's distracting him on his kickoffs right now. Remember earlier in the game he hit the tee and had a terrible kickoff. It went out of bounds. He had to re-kick it. He might be distracted by Nelms. Obviously, Monty Clark doesn't want him to give it to the Nelms straight down the field and take a chance for a run back, but eventually Murray has to get it down there and rely on his special teams. This is a good special team. Detroit has excellent special teams. Last week against Irvin, they shut him down pretty well. This week against Nelms, they've closed him down. So there comes a time when you have to say, gentlemen, you're on the special teams. This is the moment of truth. Go down and tackle Nelms. I'm kicking it straight away.
Did you ever play on the special teams?
All special teams.
What do they tell you? Stay in your lane, right? Stay at home. Don't go out searching. Just stay in that lane. Run your route.
And avoid the block. And in this situation, I mean, it's kamikaze time. It's getting down there, sacrificing your body and making the tackle when the game is on the line.
You can hear the sellout crowd at RFK Stadium. 2 minutes, 54 seconds left to go. They know they've got an explosive offense led by Joe Theismann. We have been going up and down the field all afternoon. The Redskins jumped out in front by a score of 10-0. Then Detroit came back, led at 21-10 at one point. And since then, it's been pandemonium and very little defense. Eddie Murray to tee it up from the 30-yard line. He'll try to keep it away from Nelms. Kicks this one straight away. Nelms will get a chance. He'll field cleanly at the 8. To the 15. 20. 25. Look out. 30. Up to the 32. And that's where Theismann and company will operate from. They've got all 3 timeouts left. So do the Detroit Lions. 2:44 to go. Keep in mind, though, if you're thinking about a Redskin field goal, should they get down in field goal range, that Mark Mosley, as we told you at the top of the telecast, has been having some problems with the 3-pointers. Lions secondary going to get it going over, and they're missing their key man. Jimmy Allen with a pinched nerve, number 40, will not return. 6 interceptions coming in. He's got 1 this afternoon. His place has been taken by number 23, Ray Oldham from Middle Tennessee. From the 31 of the Washington Redskins, Monk in motion to the top of your screen. Theismann will not waste time. Has all kinds of room if he wants to. 40, 45, midfield, and slides safely to the 48-yard line of the Detroit Lions. He was all the way back, John Dockery, at the 18-yard line, and somehow, as you're about to see, will avoid a huge Detroit Lion rush.
This is an in-tackle game by English and Baker. Everyone gets caught inside. English goes down. Theismann has about 30 yards of green in front of him. Takes it, slides into second base to prevent injury-wise. Moves, Joe.
And got a little knee on the top of the helmet. A 20-yard pickup. Clock is running down. Will they get this play off before the 2-minute warning? They will not. So we've got 2 minutes left in a barn burner. The Redskins have the ball at the 48-yard line of the Detroit Lions. Detroit clinging precariously to a 1-point lead, 31-30. 2 minutes are left. Don't go away. We'll be right back. You look at the time remaining. Both the Lions and the Redskins, all 3 timeouts remaining. Line of scrimmage, the 48-yard line. That's the final score. So the Vikings take over the top spot in the NFC Central with a record of 6-4. Tampa Bay drops down to 5-5. The Lions cannot afford a loss here this afternoon as they try to cling to that narrow 1-point lead. Theismann and company. Monk wide to the left side. Set back is Joe Washington. That's Terry Metcalf in motion. They go with Joe Washington. They'll try to get out of bounds and stop the clock. He rambles for 6 big yards.
And a wise call by Joe Theismann. No need to gamble, go up top, risk an interception. When you have Washington, who's been getting steady yards for you, you have Metcalf and Washington out of the backfield on safe, high-percentage passes. Take your time. Don't panic. Get in field goal range if that's what you have to do, even though Mosley is hurting a bit, but don't throw that interception.
If you're Joe Gibbs, if you're Joe Theismann, don't you want the touchdown first? I mean, sure, you don't want that costly interception, the fumble, and throw away your chances, but you also don't want to risk it where your field goal kicker might not be able to hit it because he's been a little inconsistent of late.
No doubt about it. A field goal is, no one ever said a field goal was automatic, no matter how close. Joe Washington.
Look out. Inside the 30, changing from his right hand to a left-hand possession. 1st and 10, Redskins at the 29-yard line of the Detroit Lions. Ray Oldham chased him out of bounds. How about that? You keep it on the ground 2 consecutive plays, and this is the man that fumbled on the last possession for your Redskins and gave the Lions the opportunity for the go-ahead field goal.
A little misdirection. Bubba Baker's block.
Right there. He changed his hands.
Exactly. So he has that inside arm free. He straight arms Oldham inside, gets an extra couple of yards.
Number 74 you saw leading the blocking out front. George Starkey, the 9-year veteran from Columbia, 6'5", 250, 14 yards on the carry. Redskins stop the clock by going out of bounds. 1:49 left to go. 1st and 10, Washington. Joe Washington, same play. Knights his way down to the 25-yard line. And the Redskins will try to hurry up. Will Theismann take a timeout? He looks to the bench and Joe Gibbs. They can't decide. 1:35 and counting.
This man is getting tired. You have to keep that into consideration also. Give him the ball again. He fumbled when he was tired before. You can see him looking to the bench to see if someone's coming in. They're not. Monty Clark worried, asking where is his defensive line now? I mean, the offensive line of Washington is just taking it to the defense in front 4 from the Lions.
Kind of surprised the Redskins didn't take a timeout. Theismann gives to Joe Washington, sweeping left. Back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a pickup of 2 yards as they're not risking putting it up. Ken Fantetti in there on the tackle, and the clock continues to wind down at a minute and counting. Joe Theismann now says, do we want a timeout? They can't decide. Now, finally, they do. John, they've wasted a lot of time the last 2 plays. As you look at a very nervous Mark Mosley over on the sideline, it's as if they're playing for the field goal.
And I think that's a very dangerous situation, especially with a kicker who's having leg problems. And a touchdown is a sure thing. You get it, you're on the board, you win the game. Mosley might come in and miss a field goal, especially with his problem. So I agree with you. They wasted time calling the timeout. Try to get the ball in the end zone. Do it wisely. Don't throw it away, fumble it, or throw an interception, but still try to get it in the end zone.
Kind of a strange call also on 2nd down. Now you're faced with 3rd and 5. You've got to pick up the 1st down on this play, or you're going to have Mark Mosley in there attempting about a 42-yard field goal. And Mosley, as you mentioned, and we've been talking about throughout the course of the afternoon, has had problems with that right leg between the 40 and the 49. He is only 1 out of 6. So I think that this is a key first down as far as the Redskins are concerned, and certainly for the Detroit Lions defense right now.
I think you'll see Theismann come with some kind of a possession pass, either Washington out of the backfield, or maybe a quick shot to Metcalf out of the backfield. He has to get that first down. He has to get a little closer for Mosley to take his shot.
Some kind of a rollout, perhaps, where you look for maybe a Metcalf. I would expect they try to isolate either Metcalf or Joe Washington on a linebacker to throw the short, high-percentage pass.
And exactly, to get away from the rush, you might see Theismann roll a little bit. If he has some space, maybe you'll see him tuck it away and run for the first down. But you talk about moments of truth. 50 seconds left. Lions ahead 31-30. Redskins with the ball on the 24-yard line. What more could you want?
They're in overtime at Foxborough, the Dolphins and the Patriots. Theismann asked for quiet. 3rd and 5 from the 24 of the Lions. They need a first down, realistically, to get into Mosley field goal range. On the delay, Joe Washington tries to get out of the grasp of the Detroit Lions. He cannot. Doug English made the play of the game as far as the Lions are concerned, the 6-year veteran from Texas. And now the Redskins will have to take another timeout and discuss what they want to do. Watch Joe Washington and watch Doug English.
Here's Washington. He needs that tearaway jersey right here. Big. That's Bill Gay, number 79. Spinning him around, throwing him to the ground.
You know what? He's lucky he didn't fumble the football on the play, Joe.
Exactly right. Now, a long field goal attempt by Mark Mosley to win or lose the game.
You don't think this would be a fake with Theismann on a bootleg, do you?
It's definitely a possibility when you consider that it's going to be somewhere over 40 yards, 42 yards maybe.
The crowd will tell you. Mosley, as you have seen throughout the afternoon, has had all kinds of problems with his kickoffs. He's 3 for 3 this afternoon on his field goal tries, but all of those were well within his range. Mosley is 1 out of 6 between the 40 and the 49. The line of scrimmage, the 27-yard line of the Detroit Lions. Theismann would put it down in the vicinity of the 33 or 34-yard line, which would make it a 44-yard try.
The only thing you might say about Mosley here, he's in his 10th year. He's won a lot of big games for the Redskins. So psychologically, he can deal with this pressure. It's just a question of forgetting about his legs and making the field goal.
The crowd will tell you. He nailed it. That would have been good from 50 yards out. And look at the reaction as the entire Redskin bench goes out and mobs Mark Mosley. Hello there. By contrast, look at the Detroit Lions as they gloomily walk off. They're not out of it. They still have 48 seconds left to go in this football game. But look at a happy Mark Mosley. You'd think that he feels like an anvil and has just been lifted from his back. Another look. And watch Mosley's reaction.
Perfect hit. Lots. Oh, you're right. That field goal had a lot to spare. Splits the uprights and puts. Look at this.
Look at
you think he's happy? Oh, how are you?
We have seen it all. And don't go away. There are still 48 seconds to go. Eddie Murray can hit him from 50 yards out. And the Lions are only down by 2 points. And the Lions have got 1 timeout remaining. Hey, you know, back in 1976, Joe Theismann started his NFL career against the Detroit Lions, and he won that game. There it is, with 48 seconds to play.
Here they are. You need a good run back. Alvin Hall, get loose. Or else Robbie Martin, number 80, through. The good run back, get good field position. A quick pass or two. Billy Sims out of the backfield, get loose, get Murray in field goal range. This game might not be over. Lions trail by 2, 43 seconds left.
And Mosley, the hero of the moment, tees it up at the 35-yard line.
I think all the adrenaline in his body went right to his leg. He really hit that field goal. As
we watched him at practice yesterday and talked with him, he did not seem like a man who was overconfident about his chances coming into this football game. He was very quiet within himself. Mosley will tick it up. Robbie Martin, Alvin Hall are back deep. It is a high, by far his best kickoff that Alvin Hall will chase down at the 12. To the 20, the 25, tries to get out of bounds, touchdown at the 28 by Quentin Lowry. And it's 1st and 10 for the second-year quarterback, Eric Hipple. The executive producer of the NFL is Terry O'Neill. The senior producer, Charles H. Milton III. Today's game produced by David Winter and directed by Sandy Grossman. Okay, 40 yards.
in 39 seconds, set up a field goal. Let's see if they can do it. Eric Hipple.
All kinds of pressure on the second-year quarterback. They'll come with something over the middle, open man, Dexter Bussey, one-on-one. They keep him in bounds. They keep the clock moving. The Lions have to wait. They've only got one timeout left. That's Lavender with a good open field tackle. 26, 25, 24. Lions in their quick hurry-up offense. Scott wide to the right side. Leonard Thompson to the left side. Bussey and Billy Sims are the running backs. Down to 15, 14. Lions will have to call timeout after this play. Hipple in trouble. Over the middle. He's got Freddie Scott near midfield. Scott turns to the 50-yard line. 7, 6. The Lions ask for timeout with 4 seconds to go. Mark Murphy, Monty Coleman made the tackle on Freddie Scott. And of course, John, what they wanted to do there was not let him get to the sideline. Keep him contained, wait for some help.
And let that clock run down. 4 seconds left. What does Monty Clark do? He has to go downtown. He has to either try a field goal from some 65 yards, which is an impossibility unless you can resurrect Tom Dempsey. Or you have to throw it downtown to one of your fast wide receivers. Mark Nichols, number 86, has that kind of speed. He's a big receiver at 6'2", and I think that's what they'll probably have to do. Certainly Thompson has speed to go downtown. It's a shame. I don't know if they might have called a timeout after that last play, Dexter Bussey, when he didn't get out of bounds. I think that might have been the wide. They wasted about 12, 13 seconds,
right,
and that might have been the time to call it.
Our statisticians this afternoon, Joe Band and Ron Kane, our spotter, Jason Shrinsky, and our thanks to the entire technical crew who have brought you the sights and sounds of this afternoon's football game. The NFL on CBS, the Redskins 33, the Lions 31. It has been a barn burner, and it is 4 seconds from being over. The Lions have got perhaps one last shot. Of course, if you do go downtown, what you're hoping for, if you don't get the big bomb, is maybe a pass interference call to set up Eddie Murray in field goal range.
Sure, there's one other possibility. Take the ball, run a 10-yard out, and hope you can do it in 3 seconds and take your shot at the field goal.
Well, they flood the left
They
side.
can throw it downtown.
All right, it'll be the home run ball to the left side. Everybody's going down.
The Hail Mary.
Here it goes. Lavender's back there.
The catch is
Lions got the reception, but they're out of timeout. The clock winds down. Mark Nichols, the rookie from San Jose, with a great grab, but the Lions don't have any timeouts left. Now let's check Bob Frederick, the referee. It is first and goal for the Lions at the 4. Clock says no ticks remaining. That's it.
Oh, heartbreak for the Lions. Ending the game with a 3-yard line, losing their 6th in a row on the road. Joe Gibbs.
One more look, and Eric Hipple threw the ball as well as he could throw it.
And Mark Nichols went up and got it in a crowd.
Hipple throws it as far as he can throw it. Now watch this.
Look at Nichols go up in traffic, come down, doesn't fall in the end zone. They knock him down at the 2-yard line. That's the way the game ends. Heartbreak for Detroit.
There you see our final score. This is Jim Kelly saying so long for John Dockery from RFK Stadium in Washington, reminding you once again the final score, the Redskins 33, the Lions 31. And remember, next